Have you been cheated out of money? Also, do you feel you have wasted time and want that compensation for that lost time? Here at Carundrum & Son, we will help you get that settlement that you really deserve. Have you been scammed, lied to, or have been disinformed by this man? You may be eligible for up to $100,000. So call now.
And the answer is quite succinctly no. And how do we know that? Well, for several reasons. First of all, I had access to all those programs, and those type of programs, you don't typically test these type of secret aircraft in and around areas where you're doing active maneuvers. You tend to test them at secret test ranges like Area 51.
If ever there's someone who's really shifted the paradigm for so many, it is Lou.
Lou is a lying, cheating, stealing, not money-making, but will be a money-making dude soon.
Was chosen to be that man. Can you say amen?
Is the sheer magnitude of the infrastructure that has been built out underground and off planet with the help of various ET groups, many of which are highly benevolent and really do want our best interests in mind.
Are you serious?
It's ridiculous. And this is what he wants you to pay him money for.
Thank you for all the shows you go on, making yourself available.
You know, I'm done.
I've been recording and documenting everything that has happened to me for the last 10,000 years.
Are you serious?
What? What?
Too much belief in bullshit in ufology.
It was a classic disc-shaped craft. Years later, there was a report.
Alien life. I mean, my goodness.
Are you serious? Hey.
More than a little tired. Because you see, I don't know about you, but I am tired.
Like inside of a glass. Then he said to me in our first talk ever, I'll never forget this, because I'm talking to a fighter pilot and I got to talk fighter pilot, and I don't, you know. And he says to me, "It noticed me." And I go, "What do you mean it noticed you?"
Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 Corbell.
Well, I'm Pastor Paul Begley, and this is the coming apocalypse.
They don't exist!
What are they doing here? Why? Where are they from? What do they want?
All these ancient prophecies telling us that the world will be transformed.
Wacky world of Wilcock, where make-believe is real. It's the wacky world of Wilcock. How much money can he steal? It's the wacky world of Wilcock, where make-believe is real. It's the wacky world of Wilcock. How much money can he steal? He makes all this stuff up and claims that it's all true. The aliens want to eat us. Be careful that they don't get you. It's the wacky world of Wilcock, where make-believe is real. It's the wacky world of Wilcock. How much money can you steal? It's the wacky world of Wilcock, where make-believe is real. It's the wacky world of Wilcock. How much money can you steal?
This is where if I have a live audience, I get everybody to hug each other. I say, give your neighbor a handshake or a hug, whatever you feel is appropriate to you. And that way everybody feels the love a little more. I will never believe it, I will never believe it. Okay, that's fine. Maybe you need 25,000 more years, I don't know, buddy. But look, this is really compelling information, and it's going to get a lot more intense. It's coming up in a couple days here on Sunday, so if you haven't already signed up, we have reopened the cart. We still have the payment plan in place.
Greetings and salutations, friends, and welcome back. Tonight, we're going to look into the wacky world of David Wilcock again. We're still again. And we do this from time to time when David Wilcock posts a live stream full of ridiculous nonsense, which he does quite frequently lately. Apparently, Mr. Wilcock is in a financial crunch right now, having given most of his money to a techno scam called Stravati Aerospace. For those unaware, Stravati Aerospace makes very compelling pictures of super high-tech aircraft, claiming that they're building these prototypes, and they have been doing that for many, many years. They've never produced a single airplane to my knowledge, but David Wilcock claimed that he and that company, thanks to his investment in them, were going to produce the world's first hover car with a free energy engine. You don't even need fuel for it. And remember that this was some time ago, and David Wilcock promised they'd have a working prototype within 1 year. Tick-tock, David Wilcock, the clock is ticking down. And I believe there is roughly 3 months or maybe 4 months left on that year. And we're all going to get to see David Wilcock's hover car, not the G.I. Joe toy plastic planes that he 3D printed and showed us and called prototypes, but a working prototype. So he's got 3 or 4 more months to produce the working prototype, or he lied about that like he lies about everything, friends. But lately, in this latest live stream, he did speak a lot about trying to keep the company afloat, and oh my gosh, we might lose the airplane hangar we purchased. But he thinks they're going to be able to pull it out and save the company. I call bullshit. I'd love to see what's in that actual hangar. This company has never produced anything, but somehow they're going to produce a working hovercar prototype. And we have to remind my listeners that David Wilcock claimed that he would be producing the hovercar with the Salvador Pius patents. Friends, you cannot just copy someone's patented technology and then make a product and sell it. That would be illegal. That's what patents are for people to say, this is my patented technology. You cannot, you will not be allowed to just copy my technology, right? Oh, I see you there, Jason. Jason Matt says, $9.99 super chat. And by the way, I think I have the right person. I want to thank Jason Matt says. I hope I'm saying that right, or is it Matisse? Sorry, you have to forgive me, Jason. M-A-T-S-E-S, I think, yes. For not only this kind and generous donation to our show, but he became a Patreon supporter with a very generous monthly donation. Remember, you can join my Patreon for as little as $1 a month, but some people choose to give more than that. And in his case, if I have the correct party, if not, I apologize, but I would thank that person anyway, gave a very, very generous Patreon, and I appreciate that tremendously. Thank you, Jason, for helping us to praise the cash.
You're watching Truth Seekers. Praise the cash, praise the cash.
So thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and your huge support of the show. Big supporter, Jason. Thank you. Back to David Wilcock's hover car. You know, the ridiculousness of David Wilcock. And by the way, there are various sources telling me that are, one of which lived with David Wilcock for a time, that he and his wife broke up because he gave all of their money to this techno scam company that has never produced a single product, to my knowledge. It's very, very troubling that David Wilcock apparently gave all or most of their money to this techno scam company who has been soliciting investors' money for 10 or more years and have never produced a product. Also, remember that they claimed that they had a government contract and they were producing laser weapons for the United States military. Turned out the United States military called them on that, or somebody from the military called them on that bullshit lie, and they took all mention of the laser weapon they were developing for the United States government down. And again, they've never produced a single product or prototype, even a single airplane. I don't understand how an aerospace company exists for 10 or more years without producing any airplanes, but that's where we're at. So David Wilcock has just a few short months, him and Stravati Aerospace, to show us a working prototype. Now, I have a feeling that he's going to blame funding, because he talks a lot about funding in this latest video. It is what it is. For one, I can't wait to see this hover car, because it's not just a hover car, friends. It's a hover car with a free energy device as its power source, so it never needs fuel. Great. And it can power your whole house. Yet, when David Wilcock claims he is in possession of this form of technology, yet when there's a power failure at his house, he can't work the generator there, and he has no free energy device to hook into his house to get free energy, but somehow he's in possession of that technology. It is absolutely ridiculous, but that's what you get with David Wilcock. You get ridiculous nonsense. And this latest live stream of his, I have to say, every time David Wilcock does something, people message me. But this one, oh boy, I got more people message me about this specific stream than anything else ever in the history of my show. Everybody wanted me to cover it, talk about it. So here we are tonight. We're going to get into this. First, of course, friends, I've got to put up my fair use banner. This is fair use. This is a transformative work. We're going to be educating the public and critiquing this video and offering commentary on the video that we are sharing. This is certainly covered under fair use and allowable by law. We have lawyer letters standing by for anybody who would falsely copyright strike us in this fair use. So let's get into it, friends. Now, I have to mention that he had technical problems and he had to restart his stream, but the first 20 minutes is nonsense. And honestly, the next video that the next part of the stream is 3-4 hours, and the first hour and a half is your usual David Wilcock connecting a bunch of connecting a bunch of dots that really aren't there. And in this stream, I love it. He talks about, in our last critique or commentary of his last live stream, he said that Donald Trump had telekinetic superpowers and got a hole-in-one playing golf because he used his telekinetic superpowers. What else? Howard Hughes was cloned, and yeah, it's ridiculous. All right, let's get into it, friends. And we're going to go, for those following along, we're going to start right at 1 hour 22 minutes in of his latest live stream, and let's get into it, friends.
Now, what does that actually mean? It means the design of the universe is for you to interact with other people and then to be triggered by them. That's catalyst. Catalyst is negative experience. And so the law of one encourages you to be as social as possible. They don't want you to hang out with the same people in the same town with the same job for your whole life. If that's the way that you're living your life, you're probably not going to get that enlightened. You're probably not going to have a whole lot of growth. The more people you can interact with, the more you can get yourself out there, even if it's just online. And again, they talk about this principle of the mirror so much, that others represent the mirror. Others mirror you back to yourself. The whole freaking thing that's going on in the world right now, to me, has a lot to do with Barack Obama. The fact that he has a black parent and a white parent. Honest to God, I really do believe this. He is seeing racism because of things like 45 going after him publicly, and he's projected that out into the world. He believed that we were still in the Jim Crow era, and the mainstream media pushed this on us, but we're really not. As I said before, I chilled with black guys from Harlem. I smoked cannabis with them, 420, blunts, White Owl, Philly blunt. I learned raps, okay? I learned KRS-One, Guru, De La Soul, EPMD. Good morning, Mr. Bozak. Time to wake up the nuts. Go what? Go hit the shower so I can wash the butt. Damn, last night was crazy wood life. I had a blast. It was ass for days. I needed a full tank of gas. Golly, G would Pete to Sagridi. Pussy kicking louder than my... I can't even go through the rest of that.
Maybe David Wilcock lost or, missed an opportunity. Maybe he should have been a white rapper,
That stuff. I did it all, okay? I did that stuff. And I enjoyed it.
And by the way, David Wilcock loves to mention that he smoked blunts with black people. And I don't even know, why would you specifically mention that you not only smoke blunts, but you smoke blunts with black people while listening to rap? It makes no sense.
I'd hang out with those people. I've never been a racist. I don't even understand.
Oh, that's what it is. It's to prove he's not a racist, because never in the history of the universe has a white person smoked a blunt with a black person and been racist. Sure.
Okay, so it's not real. It's an illusory reality, and other selves are the catalyst to piercing the veil. So look what's happening with other selves right now. There are two lines of reality in the world.
I believe that there are in David Wilcock's world. There's the wacky world of Wilcock, and then there's the real world. And in the wacky world of Wilcock, he's going to build a hover car with a free energy device, and he's going to save the world. But in reality, he's some washed up C-level celebrity who was on the History Channel for a time.
There's two realities that you can believe in. And now I'm giving you a virginal third mind that's different than the two realities that you get to choose from. In one reality, you are believing everything that they tell you. And you can't understand why things are so crazy, and you can't understand. And look at what's happening. Those people who want to live in that denial are being battered. They are being battered by experience. They are being battered by information. They are being battered by consciousness.
Or maybe they're being battered by reality. David Wilcock specifically caters to people who are in trouble, who are feeling vulnerable, who are feeling beat up and battered. And he offers them a fantasy land that they can escape reality into.
And they are seeing all of these things come in to their reality, whether they like it or not. Now, a lot of times, those of us in the truth community say, we don't understand why people can't conceptualize such simple things. This is simple information. It's so easy to understand. Why can't you understand something that's so easy? Please try to have more compassion for these people who are suffering and understand that it has nothing to do with the simplicity cognitively of the concept. The concept is very simple. Very evil people are running the planet and want to kill you. Okay? And they're trying to do that, and they're aggressively pursuing this goal right now. That's a very simple thing if you were just looking at it like a mathematics problem. Yeah, okay, evil
Virginal.
world,
Yeah.
they're trying to control everybody, they want to kill everybody. Let's just hypothetically postulate a reality where that's what it is. It's not difficult to think of the idea that the world could be like this. Cognitively, you could have a thought experiment. Anyone could theoretically be a philosopher and say, well, I don't believe this, and it makes me scared, and it makes me feel unsafe. But hypothetically, theoretically, maybe, perhaps, just in case, what if this is so freaking effed that we are like really in the crap here? What if it's real? It's not about whether it's easy to see it or not. And it's not about whether it's easy to understand.
He would look like ridiculous.
The process of understanding requires a maturation.
That's pretty bad,
that
Bobby.
The galactic logos wants you to have. Your maturation is the awakening that you are in a hero's journey, that there is a huge villain, and you better get off your ass and fight him before he kills you. That's the tipping point. That's what's so hard to understand. The alchemy of the galaxy, the alchemy of Jesus Christ.
And here is where I have a problem. Look, you new age grifter con artist, if you want to con people with crystals and organite and new age bullshit and the law of one fake bullshit, that's fine. But when you bring Jesus into it, come on, man. Leave Jesus and the Archangel Michael out of your con games. Do you think Jesus and the Archangel Michael like you conning people for your fake bullshit fairy tales? Do you think the Archangel Michael would come to somebody who has made a living for a decade selling fake prophecies and fake nonsense?
Is that you will become like him. John 14:12. As I do these things, so shall you do them, and greater things. Cognitive abilities, psychic abilities, telepathy, seeing the future, all of these things are rolled in with that concept.
And by the way, yes, John 14:12 does say that, but it doesn't apply to people like you who make a living scamming people, David Wilcock. It applies to prophets or apostles of Jesus. He was talking to his apostles, his closest followers and supporters, and he was telling them that they would be able to do miracles as he did through the power of the one true God, not through the Egyptian god Ra, not through channeling, not through saying you're Edgar Casey, you dumbass. I can't stand it that he's bringing Jesus and the Archangel Michael into his stupid con games.
So when we're looking at the possibility of liberating ourselves.
And by the way, he later in this stream is basically saying that he is becoming Christ-like or an ascended master, and he's getting superpowers. The title of tonight's show is Assaulted by Aliens, but in this he basically we'll just wait for it. It's coming up.
From the suffering that so many people have, it ultimately comes with the understanding that you cannot die. You cannot die. You are not threatened by anything.
Talk about hope for the hopeless, right? David Wilcock has this stupid belief that as long as you don't rape or murder anybody, you can't die. Bullets would bounce off of you because you are in some sort of this divine situation where you can't be killed or harmed. And I just want to say, David Wilcock, you dumb dickhead, how about you go to every murder victim in, let's just say, the United States and tell them that the reason that their relative got murdered, you know, was because they were a bad person. He essentially says you can only be shot and killed if you're a bad person. If you're a good person and you don't do these bad things, then you can't be killed. You have divine, I think he calls it executive action, which is nonsense. And it is an insult to every murder victim in the world to say, essentially, that, well, they got murdered, they must have been a terrible person. How do you think their families think when they hear some dumbass new age guru, C-level celebrity on his way out, telling them that their family member essentially got killed because they must have been a terrible person?
You have nothing to worry about. And this whole entire world, as traditional as it seems to be, is actually a reality construct.
Oh yeah,
That's
we're in the
the
Matrix.
awakening. That's why people have a hard time seeing something that, oh, it's so simple. Why can't they see it? It's such an easy thing to understand.
Yeah, we got unicorn power.
No, it's a paradigm shift. It's coming to realize that everything you ever thought was true in your life is a freaking lie. You were lied to about every single thing. There are satanic communities where everybody's in on it. It's the YMCA, it's the bank, it's the schools.
Yeah, and here he suggests that there's some grand satanic conspiracy, you know, and I got to check for Satanists now. Did you know? My wife just joined the local YMCA for my children because they have a really nice pool, indoor pool and things like that. So now I'm going to have to tell my wife that she's got to be careful with my children there because there are satanic pedophiles at the YMCA. And another thing, David Wilcock, you dumbass. Why would you mention the YMCA in most neighborhoods? Every YMCA I've ever been to do a valid and very good community service for the communities that they serve. So now you're telling everybody that there's satanic pedophiles at the YMCA. They should sue your dumbass.
It's
no evidence. Where's your evidence of satanic pedophiles at the YMCA, you dumbass?
And they have mind control where you don't know they did
anything. Oh, it's the
anything.
judges too. Yeah.
And they do it so well that you can't remember that they did anything. Most of the children in those movies don't remember starring in the movie, folks.
Yeah, and here he's, I believe that he's talking about pedophilic movies. I just, you know, you got to have a bad guy in your story. And David Wilcock, it's Luciferian or satanic pedophiles that are ruling the world and, you know, raping children and all of this stuff. And for sure.
These are some of the new briefings I'm getting.
Oh, there we go. He said briefings. Everybody take a shot. Listen, I've said it before. I'm going to say it again. It's a very simple argument, David Wilcock. Generals get briefings. Senators, congressmen get briefings. Presidents get briefings. Nobody is briefing you. You are so full of shit. You must waddle when you walk, David Wilcock. Or, you know, you're getting briefings. Everybody within the sound of my voice, imagine this. There's some super important person within the military-industrial complex. Maybe he's a general, an admiral, I don't know, a senator, you know, and they hear about this important information about things that are going on in the world. And they say to themselves, you know what I got to do? I got to call former Ancient Alien star David Wilcock and brief him on this very important information. It's so goddamn ridiculous. You look so childish and foolish every time you say the word briefing, you dumb dickhead.
Hypnosis is a lot scarier than I thought, and it's been used a lot more than I thought. And so many victims are not aware that anything ever even happened to them. And I don't mean to alarm you.
Sure, they get mind wiped.
I don't mean to alarm you.
Oh, great. Oh, I'm not supposed to be alarmed, but there's satanic pedophiles that are ruling the world at the new YMCA that my wife just joined with my children. She takes them there twice a week. I'm going to have to go there and look for satanic pedophiles now, but don't be alarmed.
It appears that this crap happened to me.
Here we go.
It appears that I was in a dialed-in satanic community, and it appears that I was abused. And that's one of the main things I've had to deal with over the last few months is the torture that I was put through, the things that I was forced to witness, the Draco's eating human beings, and Draco's eating my own body. Okay.
Here. So this is where it starts getting extremely ridiculous because David Wilcock has been a public figure for what, 20, 25 years? He's never discussed any being a victim of abuse. But here we have this fool now in desperate need of money and in desperate need of new material. And suddenly on a public monetized live stream where he's collecting super chats, he's telling everybody that he saw Draco reptilian aliens eating people, and they also ate him, but there's some weird way that they ate him or partially ate him, and then they brought him back to life, and then they molested him. So essentially, David Wilcock is right here saying that he got raped by Draco reptilian aliens. Awesome.
Hey, one of the things
And by the way, I think him doing this is so goddamn disrespectful to every victim of sexual or physical abuse or child abuse on the planet. To falsely claim, and I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that he's falsely claiming that he was raped or molested by reptilian aliens as a child.
I discovered, which is very weird, is that some of the technology they got in UFO disclosure, they could literally chop your head off and then zip you right back together and bring you back to life like nothing even happened.
They could chop your head off and then zip you back to life like nothing ever happened. That's why the Draco reptilian overlord aliens were able to eat him and then bring him back to life and then rape him some more. Like, this is so ridiculous, even for David Wilcock. And like I said, it's so goddamn disrespectful to victims of sexual abuse to make these stupid, ridiculous claims that you got raped by aliens. Come on, bro. As if you were not ridiculous enough already. Now, after all this other ridiculous shit that you've said in your life, you're Edgar Casey reincarnated, you channeled the Egyptian god Ra, you're building a hover car, you're also a guy who got raped as a child by reptilian aliens. This is too much.
So there are some sickos who had children get eaten alive and then resuscitate their body from the dead. And that's what apparently was done to me, among other things.
Oh,
and it
there
explains
you go.
why I had these horrific dreams, this repetitive dream I had my whole life as a kid of a dog eating the fingers off of my hand.
Okay, so somehow David Wilcock is right now claiming that Draco reptilian aliens ate him and then they brought him back to life and then they molested him after they ate him. And some of you may remember this Kerry Cassidy saying that the Draco reptilian aliens, they fuck people and they eat them. And my big question is, do they eat them first and then fuck them? Or do they, oh, I gotta watch my language. Do they eat them first and then bang them? Or do they bang them first and then eat them? Or I would assume that you got to bang them, the human, first before you eat them. But David Wilcock has a better explanation. You can eat the person and then bring it back to life and then bang them. Great.
And now I know why. All right. I have a personal stake in getting rid of these things because they abused me.
These goddamn Draco reptilian aliens, they ate me and banged me. And I got a personal stake. I'm going to save Earth from these evil Draco reptilian overlords that are banging people and eating them, or eating people and bringing them back to life and then banging them. How evil is that?
And I am not happy about it.
I think he's
And
going
if
to
you
start
think
crying
this is fake
soon.
and you want to laugh at me,
I think it's fake, and I'm going to laugh at you. It is fake as shit. You are fake as shit. You are a fake plastic man, a construct of lies, the lord of ridiculous lies.
and you think that I'm making up abuse memories and that this shit didn't really happen to me, I'm sorry
I think
if
that.
you can't believe
No, I can't. I can't believe it.
that there could be a reality where this is happening. But I've been getting new briefings, folks.
He's getting new briefings, apparently, about the reptilian aliens that eat people and then bring them back to life and then butt bang them. He's getting briefings about reptilian aliens that eat people and then bring them back to life and then bang them in their butts. He's getting briefings about that. Yeah, sure you are.
And a lot of the stuff about the secret space program is true.
Yeah, and a lot of it is bullshit. And you and your buddy Corey Good are the kings of the secret space bullshit.
ETs do have a technology where they can stitch in and out of time. They could pick you up. They could have a long set of experiences with you for however long, some of which may be very horrific things.
Yeah, I would think getting butt banged by a 12-foot tall reptilian alien is horrific.
Very
Yeah,
disgusting things.
yeah, that is
Bring you
disgusting.
back, and you don't know any different. And if you read Ascension Mysteries, the first half of that book, which is all my personal reflections, why was I waking up under hypnosis? Why was I?
Oh, 1 second, friends. I'm going to back that up a little bit. I saw a super chat. The chat is acting wonky today. I'm on a laptop too. And by the way, I should mention for you audiophiles who like to send me nasty notes that I am not in my usual streaming studio. I'm outside here on my patio. So my apologies if you hear a dog barking or an airplane flying overhead. This is unavoidable for the time. I saw, I'm going to see if I can't grab that. Oh, wait a minute. 1 second. Let me just check in with the analytics, and then I'll be able to do it. I apologize. For some reason, it's only letting me go so far back in the live chat, and that's creating a big problem here because we do thank we thank each and every person who sends a super chat. Make me a moderator, David Bucky. I would be happy to write something in the live chat right now so I don't have to scroll back. And Lee, we have Lee Guy with a kind and generous $4.99 super chat saying wackadoo with some bacon. And we have David Bucky with a kind and generous $5 super chat who says, make me a mod. We don't really sell mod stuff, but you've been around long enough, David Bucky. I would be happy to do that. Just do me a favor and just write something in the live chat right now so it's right at the bottom so I will be easily able to get that and make you a moderator. But I've got to go over to the actual live chat. But thank you to and Jason for helping us to praise the cash tonight.
Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash. Thank you for your kindness. Thank you for your generosity. Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash.
All right. Thank you, all of you kind and generous people who help move the show forward and keep the show rolling. I'm going to go over there. Yeah, so the title of tonight's show was Assaulted by Aliens and He Gets New Superpowers. So here we've heard him make these claims about getting assaulted by aliens, right? And while I'm at it, I will make Rich from Goofon a moderator, I think. Yeah, I don't see a message from you there, David Bucky, in the live chat. Put one in the live chat. Write anything so I can find your name here. Oh, there we go, David Bucky. Make me a mod. Now I see it. And you are now a moderator. You've been here for a very, very long time. I don't want people to think that I'm giving away mod wrenches if somebody throws a super chat, but David Bucky has been here for a very, very long time. So I'm happy to make him a moderator. Use your wrench wisely. All right, let's. Oh, wait a minute. I'm playing my own video. That's not good. 1 second. Back to David Wilcock's nonsense.
The ETs do have a technology where they can stitch in and out of time. They could pick you up. They could have a long set of experiences with you for however long.
They got time travel technology, friends. They can butt bang. Those aliens can anal probe you and butt bang you for as long as they want to. Those evil reptilian aliens that butt bang David Wilcock, apparently.
Which may be very horrific things.
Yeah.
Very disgusting.
Getting butt banged by a big old reptilian alien. They're probably slimy and they smell. Yet anybody ever have a snake? When I was a kid, I had a snake, and boy, snakes smell, man. They smell like death or something. That snake cage, I used to hate cleaning it.
And bring you back, and you don't know any different. And if you read Ascension Mysteries, the first half of that book, which is all my personal...
There's the book plug. You got to read Ascension Mysteries.
Reflections.
And by the way, I think it's Ascension Mysteries that's filled with fake stories of his fake government insider, Pete Peterson, that never worked for the government. Great. Great information there, David.
Why was I waking up under hypnosis?
He's going to cry again. Twice in one stream.
Why was I walking out the door of my house in the middle of the night hundreds of times as a child, and I couldn't remember where I was going?
Well, and you know, another thing, if he's making these stories up, what does that say about his parents? Like, do his parents remember him waking up hundreds of times and getting out of the house at night while he was a child? And wouldn't they have sought some sort of psychiatric or medical treatment for him? I guess they didn't, according to David Wilcock, because hundreds of times, right?
And at the end of the thing, they just make me walk back to where I was, and then the memory is lost. And I don't remember what happened, but now I do.
Oh, I thought I was going to say he doesn't remember what happened a few minutes ago. He was talking about getting butt banged and eaten.
I do. And I want revenge.
Yeah.
I do.
Get revenge on those evil
I'm not gonna
aliens
lie to
that
you, I
butt
want
banged you.
revenge. I want these people gone. I want these beings gone. They shouldn't be able to torture people like this.
I agree with you. I don't think that reptilian aliens should be able to butt bang people and get away with it. That is not fair at all.
They shouldn't be able to do things to children like what they did to me. And the things that I'm now remembering that happened to me. I'm sorry. I shouldn't be crying like this. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and just a note to say that we're not here making fun of victims of sexual abuse. It may very well be that David Wilcock, because his mind is so focused on aliens, maybe he was a victim of some sort of abuse as a child, and he's, I don't know, woven that into his alien fantasies, and the memory changed to, instead of, you know, a human abusive person, it became a reptilian alien. I don't know, but most of me thinks this is just part of another con of his. Oh, feel sorry for me. I got butt banged by evil reptilian aliens. Send me some super chats. I mean, who would go on a monetized live stream where people are throwing super chats and talk about getting butt banged by aliens? You know?
You don't have to believe me.
Good, because I don't
believe that these things happen to me. That's okay.
I don't believe shit
but
that
I
you
want to
say.
be clear that it did.
Oh, it did.
And I want to get back to the slides so we can talk about.
Oh, you gotta have the slides.
About where this is going. So this is a really, really big one. Okay, this is the one that also again explains why did I have to, you know, drop out on you guys for a little while.
Yeah, he had to drop out on us because he was becoming an adept, or in other words, an ascended spiritual master. He was getting his superpowers while he was away, right? And isn't it a coincidence that right when he needs money, he starts getting new superpowers, and suddenly, for the first time in 25 years, he starts talking about getting abducted and molested and eaten by aliens? Oh, you got to wipe the tears, David.
Why was it difficult? I had no idea that I was involved in this crap, folks. I had no idea that I was forced to witness ceremonies, but it makes sense because of why I've been so pursuing this for so long. How the hell are they able to do this and not have you remember? It's amazing. I really have had a lot to process. But I now feel that in my other life, in my waking life, I've of course lived it with perfection. I've never wanted to be evil at all. And these things were done to me against my will. The people who molested me did so against my will. They did it on stage. They did it in front of large audiences. And they were making fun of me because I had special abilities in this ultimate personality that they created.
I had telekinesis. And so if you go back to some of the dreams that I posted online in 1997, there's a dream where I'm in my school cafeteria. And everyone in the audience is in a robe. And they all have their way with me, make them a banana sandwich.
I'm sorry about that. I just realized I was muted.
And I didn't realize when I wrote that dream down that it was true, but that I couldn't remember because the memories were taken away from me. But now I do. Now I remember.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what I missed saying. I was saying that he should be ashamed of himself just for throwing this kind of a shade on his parents, because here he is saying that he was a victim of some sort of bizarre satanic sexual abuse or sex abuse shows with a child involved. You know, like where were his parents during all of that, right? It makes absolutely no sense that he would say these things and make his parents look like abusive assholes too. Were they in on it? I mean, who in their right mind would just say these things while their parents were still alive? And by the way, by all reports, his mom is a new age yoga weirdo. But, you know, that doesn't mean she's a bad person. My point is, I'm a parent. And to me, if my child, as an adult, suddenly went on a live stream and said these things, apparently to make money, right? He's on a live stream to make money and get those super chats. I would be outraged because it would make me look like an asshole, like he's getting abused and I let it happen, or I didn't do anything to stop it, or whatever. It's absolutely ridiculous. And another thing, you know, I think that it's so disrespectful to actual real victims of sexual abuse or whatever, you know, child abuse, that he is doing this for money right now on a monetized live stream.
I don't want to go into this a whole lot more, but it explains why I've been so committed to my path.
That's exactly what it was, David.
Why I will not let this go on. Why I do not support these people. I did not deserve to go through what I went through. I did not deserve to be raped.
Now he's raped, not just molested.
And I will not stop. I don't care what happens to me anymore, folks. Now that I know what they did, I don't care.
Yeah, I agree, Dirty Mike.
I don't care what they say. I don't care what they say about me. This has got to stop. We need this thing to end. We need these people to stop succeeding in what they're doing. And we need their overlords to stop gaining the loose
I agree, Kate Schneider.
Torture, the ceremonies that they make people go through, and the horrible things that they make people do. The people who are in these organizations, for the most part, do not want this. They do not want to be doing these things, folks. They do not want to participate in these ceremonies. And there would be a mass exodus, according to Savali. There would be a mass exodus if they felt they could leave.
It's both. It's alien. It's Satanist aliens.
Believe me, there's a lot of people who.
Oh shit! I just lost the place now. God damn it.
Resuscitate their body from.
All right, 1 second, friends. This is why I hate laptops.
Not about the fact that this happened to me per se, but I absolutely do not want to ever go through this again, and I will not go through this again. And under no circumstances will I permit this to happen to me again.
Yeah, and that's another stupid thing. You know, listen, if you're a victim of sexual abuse, you're not letting it happen. You're a victim. Someone is perpetrating, you know, a horrible crime on you. And if you're a child and it's an adult or a 12-foot tall reptilian alien, I don't think you get a choice in it. And What is he saying now? Oh, I won't let those Satanist reptilian aliens butt bang me again. I refuse to be butt banged by those Satanist reptilian aliens.
I want you to be safe.
Oh, good.
I'm doing this for you.
Folks, he's doing this for us. He doesn't want anybody else to be butt banged by Satanist reptilian aliens.
Get killed, it's okay. I mean, I don't want them to, and I doubt that Michael would let them, but...
Oh, yeah. Archangel Michael won't let anybody kill him. That's another bullshit, nonsensical claim that he makes.
Now that I found out what happened to me and how they messed me up and why I've had personality disorders my whole life, why I've had a hard time.
Did you catch that? He's had personality disorders his whole life. And his parents were affluent enough to get him psychological counseling for his issues. How much you want to bet that personality disorder was narcissistic personality disorder? After all, here's a man who claims that he can channel Egyptian gods, predict the future. Now he's claiming he has telekinetic superpowers, and his dreams are so important that everybody should read about every dream he's ever had since he was in 8th grade. It's absolutely classic. This guy is absolutely classic narcissist. He's so goddamn important. He's going to save Earth, remember? He's going to bring us hover car technology and free energy devices, right? That's not arrogant at all.
On many different levels, and why I've felt this like I'm burning alive. Well, if you have trauma in your subconscious and you can't remember what it was, if they don't allow you to remember what happened to you, and this happens in the course of traumatic memories anyway. I mean, if something bad happens to you, you're going to dissociate it into some corner of your mind, okay? It's not a bad thing that I'm crying right now, and it's not a bad thing that I'm sad, and it's not a bad thing ultimately if these things happen to me either.
Canadian Awareness is always here to remind us that David is not a channeler, trance or non-trance. He is a fraud, narcissistic egomaniac. I can't disagree with you there, Canadian.
Because
Canadian
I
Awareness.
now know that I will fight to the last breath I have to keep you safe, to keep this planet safe, so that you don't have to go through what I went through, because in the future they want to do this to a lot more people.
It is sad.
Folks like me who were smart and they did some strange thing with us. Okay. This is a big subject, and the time loop really helped me to see something that was very important. So I needed to step away.
Reptilian gangbang.
You can't heal and be creative at the same time. You can't be fighting this war and get better and become an adept. You see, you need the silence. And so that's why, getting back to the slide, that I had to free myself from the thoughts, constraints, opinions, and bonds of other people, which unfortunately includes you guys in the audience. And I am sorry. But
yeah, he's sorry. He had to go away and heal. He couldn't be creative. And, you know, first of all, isn't he supposed to be telling people true stories? What do you need to be creative to tell people true stories? Now, granted, you might need to be creative in the production of things, you know, like I guess his slides or whatever. But the fact that he says he couldn't be creative, right? That is a Freudian slip that he makes all this shit up. And he must really need material right now because, I mean, just think about it. If you're sitting around and you know you're a UFO con artist grifter who's been telling people fake stories about aliens for 20, 25 years, and you need new material to go to, I was butt banged by reptilian aliens, that is something else.
But when you start finding out that people made you into a banana sandwich, and you start remembering those things?
What the hell is a banana? He got made into a banana sandwich? Does anybody know what the hell a banana sandwich means? Is that some sex term? I don't know.
You got to take some time off.
Yeah. When you realize that you got butt banged by reptilian satanic aliens, you got to take some time off.
Much, much bigger than divorce. So don't think that the divorce is why I was so silent. The divorce was only the catalyst that triggered these memories. Once the memories came, I had to sit with them. I had to process them. I had to say,
oh my God, he just said his wife left him, and suddenly he remembered that he was butt banged by Draco reptilian alien overlords that are Satanists. Great. I mean, divorce is rough, but shit.
Did this actually really happen to me? Is it even possible that this might be true? And I still don't really know. The verdict is out, but I spoke with my therapist about it, and she has told me that the drawings and the writings and the dreams and all the things that I have strongly suggest repressed memory.
Oh, there we go. And did you hear this? This is another Freudian. This is another slip of his. Oh, I don't even know if this is real, if this really happened. But, you know, earlier in the stream, I know what happened to me now. He talks in circles, but see, that's him leaving himself an out. So that if this, I got butt banged by reptilian aliens, doesn't go well with his audience, he could say, oh no, you know, those were repressed memories or altered memories, or so. He's giving himself an out.
Well, that's what happens when you're smart. If you're a gifted child like I was, they may actually pull you into something and never, ever, ever tell you what the hell was going on.
Again, with the narcissism, he was a gifted child. Remember, David Wilcock claimed he has an IQ of 180, which would make him smarter than Einstein. Sure you're smarter than Einstein.
Okay, it's very sad. So I had to pull myself away. I had to be quiet for a while, but I think I'm mostly through it now because I've come to an acceptance. And if I had to go through all these things on some parallel reality to make me into the warrior that I am today, then I...
There's another slip. It was on a parallel reality that he got butt banged by Draco reptilian aliens. Sure.
Accept.
Oh, and another thing, he slipped and said that he talks to his therapist about this stuff. So obviously, David Wilcock is having some trouble if he's going to therapy.
As horrific as those things were, as disgusting as those things were, they made me into who I am, and they will never change who I am. And I cannot be defeated because I am immortal, because I have consciousness. The simple fact that I have consciousness leads to immortality.
He's immortal
and
now.
that immortality means that I am not jeopardized. There's nothing I have to worry about. And no matter what these people did to me or to my body, doesn't matter. I survived. I'm alive. And now I get to do something good with my life. Now I get to do something positive with my life. So they talk about this concept of freedom, and they say that it's going to piss people off. So look at this. This freedom is seen by those not free as what you would call evil or black. The magic is recognized, but the nature often is not. Woo! Now that's one of the ones that can really, really make people
Oh, by the way, Rogue
Wait a
Status is here. Hey, I want to just take a moment to make sure that to recognize and thank him. Rogue Status came to my cabin and wired the new sunroom and saved me a couple of weekends worth of work because I'm terrible at that sort of work. So I want to thank and recognize him for that. And he's the first viewer that came to the cabin. So I'm putting it out there. If you don't mind getting put to work a little bit, and you are in the Pennsylvania area somewhere near me, or maybe tri-state area, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware, and you can make it to me, I will drive you to the cabin, and maybe we'll have some cabin weekends for some of the viewers, right? That would be awesome. All right, back to David Wilcock's nonsense. Thank you, Rogue Status. You really helped me out. Last week, I got a little more done, and I appreciate your help.
It's a lot simpler than you think. What it means is that if you pull away from other people because you need to heal, and they say that's spiritual.
Yeah, we had a good time.
Right? Pulling away is acceptable. I mean, if you have a family and children, I don't recommend walking off on them. That's ridiculous. I'm not saying that, oh, well, I need to be an addict now, so I got to ditch my kids. Now you're into something called honor/duty in the law of one, which means that if you have children, you're responsible for them until they're 18 at least. So that's something you can't get around. You can't just ditch out on your kids and become an adept, all right? So don't think that you can, because you...
Oh, I love the fact that he's going to give parenting advice. And by the way, it's not just him. Any single person, especially when they're like 45 or 50, and they're giving people parenting advice when they've never had children, I want to choke them. I really... like, being a parent is rough. And if you've never done it, just shut the hell up about how to be a good parent.
You will not make it. If you have children, then your adepthood is in the context of being their parent. That's a very, very important point. So when you're free, when you have this freedom, you don't care what other people think. And then they can't believe how this could be possible. How is it possible that you could defy me and defy my will and defy my authority? That's what happened. Well, you're evil, you're evil, you're evil. No, I'm actually evolving and I'm in a higher consciousness. And so this is what's happening on planet Earth with the cabal. We, the voice of the public, or vox populi, to use the Latin term, we are not racists. We are not all wanting to change our gender. We are not all wanting to change our sexual orientation. It's fine if you're homosexual. That's fine. It's fine if you identify as something other than your birth gender. That's fine.
Oh, it's so nice of David Wilcock to give everybody permission to be gay or trans, you know? Really nice of him.
What's not okay is forcing yourself upon other people, forcing your ideologies, your dreams, your visions, your view of how the world should work onto everyone else. That's the difference between love and control. If you love people, you give them freedom and you allow them to read information.
I guess he gave his wife freedom because she packed her shit and bounced out of there.
They might not then agree with you about. They might say, hey, I don't like you anymore after reading this. Well, that's freedom. They have the freedom to read that, even if it means that they don't like you anymore. You can't stop them from reading things that will lead them to not liking you. Well, you can, but in terms of universal law, now we're getting back to the organic law of the U.S. Constitution that goes back to why our founding fathers wrote this in the first place.
New camera angle.
And something most people don't understand, which is color of law. The color of law represents the underlying trend of how the world sees various beliefs. And when enough people believe a certain way, that this is right and this is wrong, that becomes color of law. It's the idea of rightness. It's the idea of justice. It's the organic concept of law stripped away from humans and even stripped away from life on Earth. Is there?
I don't even know what he's talking about here. This is a bunch of nonsense.
An organic law unique to the universe? And the answer is yes. According to the law of one, it's free will. Free will is the law of the universe. And that,
yeah, somebody went in a trance and channeled this book, The Law of One, so everything in it is 100% accurate. Sure.
That law is always going to be preserved. So if you violate somebody's free will, you're going to get bad karma.
And the Egyptian god Ra, by the way, when he was channeling that through a channel, a human channel, spoke perfect English. Sure.
And that's going to be something that you have to deal with. Okay. So I'm not telling you that you have to run and hide, and I'm not telling you that you have to be afraid of the power that is within you. That power is always there. And you have everything you need to reconstruct the universe. The freedom can come in walking away from those who insist that they are right. And that is what we are doing as a planet right now. Since, again, I studied dysfunctional, battering relationships in college.
By the way, he did study psychology in college. So we're an hour and 45 minutes in, and I think that's the first true thing that he said. He studied psychology. He studied psychology. It's the first true thing he said in an hour and 45 minutes.
What's happening on a global level is that we are in a domestic violence relationship. We are leaving the abuser, and we are saying no more. And on the way out, the abuser is trying to destroy us, destroy our lives, take all of our money, leave us for dead.
Wow. Does anybody else think he might be talking about his wife there? She did have all those black belts in Kung Fu. Maybe she used to beat the shit out of him. You know, honestly, I could see that. I could see a woman just beating the shit out of him every day. And listen to that. Take all our money.
That's what's going on right now. It's a breakup. It's a global equivalent.
Yes, he's in the middle of a marriage breakup.
It's very interesting that the Johnny Depp trials, which again, statistically is the most commonly viewed content on Earth right now, these are like a warm-up for the tribunals. This is where it's going.
Oh, again with the tribunals, the mass arrests that he had been promising everybody for 20 years. He just said it's going to happen by the midterm elections. So there will be another failed David Wilcock psychic prediction that doesn't happen. right around election time. Great.
So getting back to the slide once again, I would say that healing is an elective process. And what does that mean? That means that we choose to heal. We choose to become the Logos. We choose to work on being an adept and arriving at personality transparency. And what's happening is that as heroes form on Earth, the whole point of the soul's journey is the hero's journey.
Oh God, he's going to talk about the
22
hero's journey
archetypes
again.
defined by the major arcana of the tarot cards, which the Law of One says do represent the 22 phases of our human spiritual journey in this galaxy. Those archetypes are...
By the way, we are an hour and 45 minutes in, and David Wilcock has not thanked a single person sending super chats. He has not read a single super chat, but he claims that he is in desperate need of money. Maybe you ought to thank the people that are sending you money for this level of drivel nonsense, and you telling people are literally sending him money while he's talking about being butt banged by Draco reptilian aliens, and he didn't even stop to thank them. Great.
Are available, and we all have to go through them. We all have to learn how to work the 22 archetypes, and the process of working them is called the hero's journey. That's what it's called. So the hero's journey represents the
oh God, he is going to talk about this shit
to the
again.
fact that there is a villain, and that there is a quest, and that you, in order to defeat the villain, must take on the quest and become the hero.
Oh, he's a hero too.
The whole point of life on Earth is to generate heroes at the end of this cycle in particular. Heroism is the salvation from third density, becoming a hero, doing the right thing, standing up for the oppressed, fighting against injustice.
Listen to all this stuff he's saying. He has made a living stealing money from people with fake sources, fake information, and fake alien stories for decades. But he is somehow a hero for doing that. This man has serious psychological issues.
This is heroic. This is the definition of the hero. And so as we're doing this, we also find out that the ancient prophecies spoke of this as well. So now I'm going to tie in some Hinduism. So check this out. This is very interesting. In the Bhagavad Gita,
I want to thank Patrick Sheehan for a kind and generous $9.99 super chat. And he says, protect us from banana sandwich aliens, Stephen. Really, I don't know what a banana sandwich is. What is that, a sex term? I'm going to have to look it up. But we thank you, Patrick Sheehan, kind and generous benefactor of the show, longtime show supporter, for helping us to praise the cat. Oh, God. We'll get back to this now. This is great. Now he's going to bring the Bhagavad Gita into it.
Krishna,
we got to
again, which I believe
connect all the dots, man.
And they're talking about personality transparency in this passage. This, I believe, is the same being as Christ speaking.
Yes, I did, Victoria's Eagle Andrew. You're going to have to rewind.
I have been born many times, and many times have you been born. But I remember my past lives, because again, he's got some degree of personality transparency.
He likes
G.I. Joe
toys.
Jesus, but,
he printed them.
Logoic consciousness. I remember my past lives, and you have forgotten yours. Although I am, because this is again speaking as the I am, the cosmic I am presence, or the Christ consciousness. Although I am unborn, everlasting, and I am the Lord of all,
now I learned something
come
today.
to my
Thank you,
realm
Dirty
of
Mike.
nature, and through my wondrous power, I am born. When righteousness is weak and faints, and unrighteousness exalts in pride, then
Krishna
my spirit
is a
arises
Hindu
on
god.
earth.
Look
For
at
the
that.
salvation of those who are good, for the destruction of evil in man, for the fulfillment of the kingdom of righteousness, I come to this world in the ages that pass. And so what they're actually saying here is that Logos embodies to ensure that the cycle is completed. We essentially are the working end of the prophecy, folks. It's the same thing in Hinduism. It's the same thing in Zoroastrianism. And remember the priests that predicted Jesus'
Yeah, I think it's
arrival
disrespectful
were
too, Lex Luke.
Zoroastrian priests. The myrrh, the frankincense, and the gold were their gifts for the Messiah. And in Zoroastrianism, the Messiah is called the Saoshyant. When they
I
saw
agree,
that
Kate.
light that
You're
led
right.
them to Bethlehem, they knew what they were going to find.
And you know what else? Nobody ever, Kate Schneider, nobody who talks about their past lives was ever somebody boring. Do you ever notice that? They were always like, you know, Hitler or you know, Napoleon Bonaparte or Alexander the Great or Julius Caesar or whatever. Nobody ever says, I just remembered my past lives and I was a janitor at, you know, a high school in the 1900s, early 1900s or whatever. You know what I mean? It's always some grand, you know, oh, I was Cleopatra or whatever.
They knew they were going to find the Saoshyant. And so in the Zoroastrian tradition, they say that at the end of the age, we become Saoshyants, we become adepts, we become fourth density activated. And this again gets back to the law of one and the concept of your fourth dimensional ghost body, which is again incredibly fascinating. So I'm going to skip ahead here and we're going to do the solar cycle thing later on. That'll be part 2. But before we do the solar cycle thing, I want to get into this. This is going to be the last little section for today. I've said this before.
Right, now I can't say nobody ever says that again.
But as a result of what's happening in the world, my work with the aerospace company, and we are, as I've said, if you've watched any of my other stuff, the U.S. military has declassified patents for working spaceships that use anti-gravity.
And you can't use their technology in a commercial project. It would be illegal, you dummy. Somebody needs to call David Wilcock and say, stop saying that you're going to copy the Navy's anti-gravity patents and make a hover car, because that would be illegal, dummy.
And power plants that generate what we would think of as free energy. This has already been disclosed. And I have a company that I've put together which intends to build those patents. And that's where all my money.
And again, that would be illegal. Oh, let me back it up because now he's going to say that's where all his money went.
I've said this before.
He's getting new briefings.
But as a result of what's happening in the world, my work with the aerospace company, and we are, as I've said, if you've watched any of my other stuff, the U.S. military has declassified patents for working spaceships that use anti-gravity and power plants that generate what we would think of as free energy.
Oh, great.
This has already been disclosed. And I have a company.
And there's no proof, by the way, that those patents are workable or real technology. There's no prototypes that anybody could show me that prove that technology works. It is a theory, dummy.
That I've put together, which intends to build those patents.
And here he lied. He didn't put that company together. He just gave them a shit ton of money, and they gave him a stupid title like Director of Exotic Technology or something like that.
And that's where all my money went. So,
oh, and here we have it right here. There's been some debate about how much money has David Wilcock given that Stravati Aerospace Company. Apparently, he just said it right here. I gave them all my money. And I just want to say, praise the cash, praise the cash. Karma is a bitch. And this guy has been stealing money from weak, vulnerable people for his entire career for his nonsensical garbage information. If he got scammed himself and gave all his money to another scammer like him, I think that's justice.
This is why, again, I have to do a paid product this year because I need more income.
Yeah,
because I took all my income and I put it towards our mutual future, where we all get to live better than the billionaires are living right now.
It's all for you. He did this all for you.
Now, that's what I want for everyone. And we get there in part by building our way out, using the technology that these higher beings gave us, UFO crashes, putting all that stuff together, and using it to heal the biosphere and heal the planet. Now, for many years, ever since I was age 2, I had these dreams of a man who looked like...
Who remembers dreams they had as a 2-year-old child? I want to talk to a developmental pediatrician and ask if that is even within the realm of possibility. What a liar this guy is. He's remembering dreams he had when he was 2 years old now. Great.
Obi-Wan Kenobi after I saw Star Wars.
Oh, again with the Obi-Wan Kenobi. Obi-Wan Kenobi came to him as a spirit guide, and Star Wars is a documentary, basically. It's real, folks.
And he was always there for me. I call him the old man. I would meet with him in UFOs. These dreams involved spaceships, and he seemed to be very powerful. And he told me I was going to have a very important role on the planet in the future. And he basically...
Yeah, he lied to you, dummy. Your imaginary friend... Hey, look, David Wilcock basically just said that I hung out with my imaginary friend that looked just like Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he told me I was going to have a very important role in humanity. Your imaginary friend lied to you, David Wilcock. You're not important. You're some dumb, washed up, not even celebrity, CD level guy that was on some documentaries and the History Channel stupid show Ancient Aliens, which is based on lies. All of Ancient Alien theory is based on lies. Go look up Ancient Aliens Debunked.
Basically,
it's all bullshit.
A whole bunch of teachings that prepared me for what's going on right now.
Oh, he taught him and prepared him.
Also, I was made aware that I have DNA from these people in my body, and that many of us do. In fact, the reason I had these fevers all throughout my childhood over and over again apparently is that viruses were being used to allow more of this benevolent ET human DNA to get in, because the virus invades the cell and then you get more DNA in there. Now,
essentially, so listen, this is in one stream. In one stream so far, he has said that he has telekinetic superpowers, that he was butt banged by Draco reptilian satanic aliens, and now he's saying that he has alien DNA in his body. Great. So he's an alien hybrid now, too.
I was actually told by Archangel Michael in these telepathic communications we've been discussing.
And Archangel Michael is telling him about his superpowers. It's great.
That they jacked me up with more of this DNA than most people ever are able to have. I wouldn't be surprised because of the IQ that I have, which is obviously high. And
it's my IQ is obviously high. What kind of a narcissistic asshole says my IQ is so obviously high? And just about every live stream, he mentions that he has a high IQ. Listen, you dummy David Wilcock, let me tell you something. If you have to tell people that you're smart, you're probably an idiot.
And the predilection that I have towards spirituality and the telepathy, the abilities that I've demonstrated, these are all signs that...
The abilities that he's demonstrated. Where have you demonstrated your superpowers? Where can I see a video of you moving things with your mind or telepathically communicating with people? You've never demonstrated shit. You said the shit, but you never demonstrated any of this shit. This guy's so full of shit he waddles when he walks.
My DNA has been souped up, and I think a lot of us have had this. In 1981...
Great. Show us a DNA test and prove that you have alien DNA or there is any anomaly or non-human DNA within you. You just lied through your fake teeth, bro.
Law of One said there was 65 million wanderers on Earth. But what I didn't really understand was how all of this ties back in with the so-called Valiant Thor.
Oh, he's going to start talking about Valiant Thor. And by the way, Valiant Thor, for those unaware, is a stupid story about a guy at the Pentagon, or excuse me, an alien that spent time at the Pentagon. And it was told by Frank Stranges, who made lots of money selling books about this story, but he never, ever proved any of it. And David Wilcock's so desperate for material, he's going to go and tell you that Valiant Thor is real. Margaret Williams with a kind and generous $1.79. Thank you very much for your kindness, your generosity, and your support of the show. It is much, much appreciated. I think we got another one over there, or maybe not. Let me check. I want to take a moment to thank all you kind and generous benefactors, PayPal donators, Patreon supporters as well. Yeah, there was just the one. For some reason, it's a different color at the top of the screen. But thank you very much for your kindness, your generosity, and your support of the show. We appreciate you helping us to praise the cash.
Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash.
Thank you very much. This is just going to get nutty. He's going to talk about Valiant Thor. Yeah, he's getting new briefings. He's getting new briefings on benevolent ETs.
So,
sure.
This is very, very exciting, and I do now remember having spoken to Pete Peterson and
see my channel. He constantly quotes and sources Pete Peterson, his great insider source, a government whistleblower that never worked for the government ever. Pete Peterson is a complete and total fraud, and every time David Wilcock mentions his name, I like to remind people that's his number one source, a complete and total fraud, a senile old man who he used and abused in order to make money.
Him telling me that Valiant Thor was real, we just never really made a big deal out of it. Now, I was always looking for Venus because Venus is the planet.
Yeah, and that's another nonsensical part of the Valiant Thor story. In the Valiant Thor story, Valiant Thor is from Venus. Go look up the atmospheric conditions on Venus. Bullshit. Bullshit.
In the Law of One, they say they originated from. The Law of One came out in 1981. It's 5 written books, and you cannot deny that they predicted in advance many, many highly advanced scientific concepts that we still have trouble even believing are true today, and have been the core material, multiple books that I've written, and so many television shows, movies.
Yeah, and by the way, the Law of One, the people who own the Law of One material do not want Corey Goode or David Wilcock talking about their material or profiting from it, but they do it anyway. It would be a lot like me, I don't know, profiting from the Bible, or whatever, Scientology, any religion, and the people who run the religion come to me and say, "Excuse us, but that's very disrespectful. We don't want you talking about our material because you're not within our organization. Please don't do that. Please don't quote our material. Please don't talk about our material in your paid lectures or speeches." And then you go, you know what? Fuck you. I'm going to talk about it anyway because I need to make money.
And videos that I've created and radio shows over the years. Now, all of this Law of One material, again,
that he stole,
derived
basically
telepathically, and we never really understood where the source was, except that they said they came from Venus. Dr. Pete Peterson has always been one of my top insiders, and I would ask him, what do you guys know about Venus?
His top insider was not a doctor, by the way. He had no college education whatsoever. He's calling the guy a doctor. Oh, he claimed he had a college education from Golden State University, a university that does not exist.
What did you get on the inside about Venus? The only thing he would ever tell me is that he believed that there were a certain number of android humans that we built in the military-industrial complex that live on the surface of Venus, and that was about it. It wasn't until this very strange event has taken place where insiders like those...
No robot could operate on the surface of Venus, you dummy.
On the team...
Well, no android, I don't think. I don't know. This is nonsense.
Our aerospace company are now being told that they can say everything. You have to understand, the CEO of my aerospace company has hardly ever told me anything about what he went through, even though it's very similar to Pete Peterson. Well,
yeah, that guy who runs the scam company he gave all his money to suddenly meets David Wilcock and starts talking about he worked on secret space projects and bullshit.
All of a sudden, there's been some kind of policy change, and you put that in capital letters. Policy change is a really big deal. The policy change.
Oh, you know all those super secret, all that super secret information about those aliens on Venus? You could tell whoever you want now. We won't kill you. You could tell anybody you want about our top secret alien projects.
That now we can say everything. Now we can disclose
Yeah, we can tell everybody now.
So if you go to thedisclosure.com, I have that movie where I'm showing you the prototype of a device that takes 4 AA batteries and you get 750 volts out of it.
Yeah, and that is garbage as well.
If you want to see free energy working, go to thedisclosure.com.
You're not going to see free energy working. You're going to see a scam device that this dumb son of a bitch is telling people is real and works. It doesn't work, David Wilcock. Look on YouTube. search free energy device on YouTube. There are thousands and thousands of fake free energy devices on YouTube. He found one, and for $333, he'll tell you that that's real.
Watch the movie, you will see it. I figured out a way to edit the video where I didn't give away the guy's face or voice. By taking out the audio and making sure you never see his face, I was able to get this information out.
And by the way, he didn't do that to protect that person's identity. He did that so that his critics and debunkers wouldn't be able to instantly know what fake free energy device YouTube video that he took his material from. That's my belief and speculation. I'm entitled to it.
Out there. We are going to have technology that will eliminate our need for fossil fuel, will eliminate our need to pay for energy. And it's happening a lot sooner than we think. And that's what my company is working on. And that's why I'm so motivated to do this. And again,
yeah, he's a hero.
People on the inside are now being told that they can fully disclose not just some of the information they know, but all of the information.
Vibrators from space.
So one of the things that we're going to have to find out is that
you send it to me, Patrick Sheehan. Don't send it to him.
Ridiculously evil. If you got pulled into space, if you were part of the secret space program, almost guaranteed you had to go through ceremonies. Almost guaranteed. I'm sorry to say this, and it's a bummer, but it's true.
You know what, Patrick Sheehan? It is funny. When I was like 16 years old, one of my friends knew that I was interested in electronics and free energy devices. And he said, you know, come and get in my car. I'll show you 100% guaranteed. I'll bet you $50 or something. He placed a bet with me that he could show me free energy. You know, he didn't make me pay. But anyway, we got in his car and we went to Radio Shack because Radio Shack had a free battery of the month card. And you could go into any Radio Shack and get like a 9-volt battery for free. They were cheap shit batteries, but they did work for a little while. He goes, there you go. It's free energy. Oh, thank you. Ice Cream Shots with a kind, generous $2 super chat. Says, what a clown. Send him a red nose for Christmas. I absolutely agree with you. This guy is the king of ridiculous nonsense. But thank you, Ice Cream Shots. A continuing show supporter for helping us to pray.
Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the
cash. Thank you very much. And I am finding myself looking at the clock now. We're an hour and 30 minutes into our show here, an hour and 56 minutes into his video. We skipped a lot of it.
Some of the stuff I'm learning. They have the technology where they can chop your head off and they can put you back together,
again with this,
you and kill you and bring you back to life. And it's still the same horror that you went through, as if you had actually died. And now you have that trauma. And now you have strange traumatic memories and you don't know why. Okay? But there's a positive side to all this. This had to be allowed to happen. Negative people had to be allowed to invade.
They had to allow people to torture and kill people and bring them back to life. Yeah.
And create this control system because it's all part of the grand illusion that we awaken out of, the grand dance of consciousness that makes us souls. So, Pete, what's going on with Venus? What's going on with Venus? And he would never give me anything. Well, now that we're getting full disclosure, all of a sudden...
Sure. According to David Wilcock, we're getting full disclosure, and the government just told everybody they could talk about whatever they want. But we just had a UFO hearing, and all we got to see was a fake triangle UFO video from Jeremy Cowbell and a balloon video taken from an F-16 fighter pilot's iPhone. But according to David Wilcock, we're getting full disclosure. Sure.
Even though Pete never told me this except in passing, now Valiant Thor has become a really, really big deal.
It's not a big deal. It's a joke.
That I did not
have it's a joke of a story.
Now is that these beings were appearing as humans. And they came to Earth, and one of them who called himself Valiant, and Thor is like a last name that they all have the same last name.
Oh my God.
Valiant came in 1957 and apparently lived as a human being in the Pentagon for 3 years.
Yeah, and not a single witness or government employee has ever come forward to corroborate Frank Strange's story. And by the way, the only proof Frank Strange has had is some pictures of some guy in the 50s who he claimed was Valiant Thor the alien. There's no proof to the story. I'm sorry. It's a nice story. Alien comes from Venus, lands on Earth. Take me to your leader. Somehow he ends up at the Pentagon. He stays there for 3 years. Great story. No proof to it. None. Nada. But David Wilcock is so desperate for material, he's going to tell you that that's a true story now. Even though you can't live on Saturn or Venus, you dumbass.
And as I started to connect the dots and realize that the Valiant Thor phenomenon is the same as Archangel Michael, is the same as the Law of One, is the people that have been contacting me, is the 1950s human ETs that contacted people in America.
Yeah, he's getting contacted by aliens, sure.
Contacted.
And he's got alien DNA, and he gets butt banged by Draco reptilian aliens, and was, putting on sex shows as a child, apparently, against his will. I mean, this is getting more and more stupid and ridiculous the longer I listen to it.
People in Italy. Now everything starts to make sense. Everything starts
None of this makes sense, David Wilcock. This is some bullshit.
Thor, there is a book you can find called Stranger at the Pentagon.
That's Frank Strange's
This
book.
Captures the narrative. This is the book. And again, you don't have to pay for it. It is available online for free. I mean, I would recommend.
And by the way, I don't believe that Frank Strange was actually a doctor. He had one of those fake doctorate degrees in theology.
Paying the artist, but you don't have to. It's pretty short.
By the way, Frank Strange was a Christian minister. And one person close to him once confided in me that Frank Strange made this entire story up because he wasn't making enough money in his chosen field. And he needed something to supplement his income. He was interested in aliens and science fiction. That's what I was told. I believe that.
Now, believe it or not, as crazy as this may seem,
yeah, here's the proof. There's a picture of a guy. There's a picture of a guy there. That must be an alien.
Seeing here, as well as the two people that are sitting next to him, they are apparently not regular humans. They projected into human form, but if you saw them in their native form, they would be orbs of light who live inside the planet Venus. This is the new briefing that I received. And
the new briefing. That's bullshit. And that is some bullshit explanation for, listen, Frank Strange just came out with this book at a time when scientifically we did not know what we know now about other planets in the solar system. So Frank Strange has decided that the aliens were from a planet within our solar system because the general public was not made aware that you could not, that those planets, no planet in the solar system can support life that we know of except for Earth. So later, the story gets retconned to explain away how these aliens are able to live on that planet. Oh, they're orbs of light and they live inside the planet's surface. And they just projected themselves into human bodies. It's just such nonsense.
And it sounds crazy, but it makes a lot of sense. And so many people get...
It makes a lot of sense to explain away the fact that people can't live on those planets, you dumbass.
Angry and...
What a wackadoo. Jeez, God, this guy's such a wackadoo.
Right? So you look at this, I don't like him. I don't trust him. That can't be an extraterrestrial. And look at the guy next to him. He looks like just an ordinary dude, right? Well, as it turns out, apparently this is the guy. Apparently this is Valiant Thor, and he did show up.
And by the way, people have done some comparisons and claimed that this man in the book and the pictures in the book that Frank Strange is claiming to be Valiant Thor the alien is actually pictures of Frank Strange
in a very normal looking human body,
in the 50s.
And so if you look at the left there, let me move my microphone here. Sorry for a second. I just bumped it. If you look at the left there, it appears that ET humans might look somewhat like Christina Applegate. Okay, that's pretty cool.
It's such nonsense.
Don't have a problem with that.
It's such nonsense.
And the guy in the middle, it's interesting. They don't look anything different. Here's another photograph from the day that they apparently arrived, and she's smiling. Everything looks pretty normal here. Now, a lot of people might not believe this, and I might not have either, except that This is stuff that I now got in briefings telling me, no,
Oh,
this is what it's
briefings.
true. So
Everybody take a shot. He said
the line
briefings
that
again.
I heard and
He's
the line
getting,
that's in the book,
he's
The
getting
Stranger at the
briefings
Pentagon, is
again.
that he arrived in 1957 in a flying saucer, so-called Bell craft, and they also use this term Bell craft in the Law of One. Now, typically, when we think of a bell today, we probably think of a church bell. It's kind of long, right? That's not really the bell that they meant you to be thinking about. The visual on the bell in the Law of One is apparently misunderstood because the bell that they wanted you to see is actually this, folks. That looks a lot more familiar in terms of UFOs and designs that people have been very familiar with. So again, Thor was considered a last name,
Yeah,
and even
exactly.
though they look alike
He's
to
going to-
humans, they had noticeable physiological differences, which the people in our government got really, really excited about studying. His heart was larger than a normal human being's, enough so that it didn't seem possible. He had one single gigantic lung instead of two lungs. That's very weird, right? He had blood with copper oxide in it, much like an octopus, instead of it being
man. Jesus
like human
Christ.
blood,
Why am I
which is
listening to this
iron
idiot?
oxide. The IQ was off the scale. They estimated his IQ to be 1,200. He could basically talk about anything with incredible genius. He was fluent in 100 different languages, including extraterrestrial. So again, you can say this is all BS. You can.
I'm going to say this is all BS, David Wilcock, because all of these things that he just listed are claims. Claims with zero evidentiary support. Claims made by a man profiting from selling the book on this story. And he is the only person who said these things. Listen, if this man had these physiological differences and he was studied, there would be x-rays, there would be medical reports, there would be a mountain of paperwork. There is none, David Wilcock. And how desperate are you to go to a fake alien story from 1957 about a human man from Venus? Come on, dude.
You can be a skeptic. You can cross your arms, sit back in your chair, and
I'm gonna do that.
put your head back and forth like this and make
Okay.
noises. And well,
Rah, making noises, you
whatever it
dumbass.
is that you need to do to feel good about yourself, because I'm threatening your paradigm and you don't like new information.
New information? This information is from 1957, dude. He wrote the book. I don't remember when was the book published, but this is ancient information, ancient garbage information.
Might just be true. Okay. But imagine what it would be like if this guy is in the Pentagon and you're sitting there and you bring in somebody who speaks Spanish and he can speak fluently. You bring in somebody who speaks Mandarin and he speaks fluently. And you bring in somebody who speaks Portuguese and he speaks fluently. And you bring in somebody who speaks Mongolian and he speaks with them fluently. And it doesn't matter what accent it is, what language it is, all over the world. You bring them in and he can talk to them. And you're watching it happen. And then you test his body and you x-ray his body and you look at him under the scanner and it's like, whoa, he's only got one lung. He's got this weird heart. He's got copper oxide blood. He's got incredible IQ. This is incredible. Imagine what these guys, and apparently he told them that he had a
It is an
409-year
incredible story,
lifespan,
but it's just a story with
but he
no
looked
proof.
again like a normal human being, 6 feet and 185 pounds. I really did not ascribe significance to the Valiant Thor thing before, but now that I did, it started to make me realize, you know, if he spent 3 years in the Pentagon and Howard Hughes had just written this 5-inch binder called The Plan, which was his outline of how to defeat the deep state, wouldn't it make sense?
He went back to Venus.
That Archangel Michael / Valiant Thor would create the plan that we're now seeing come.
Yeah, and now he's basically saying that Valiant Thor is the Archangel Michael. Okay.
To fruition, and created the plan with the knowingness of what they as angels could do on the other side of the veil to make sure that the plan is fulfilled. Part of their plan seemed to be generating the Law of One, and part of their plan seemed to be getting me involved so that I would be able to show you all these things and how they connect.
Super advanced extraterrestrial aliens from the planet Venus. They were so concerned about Earth that they decided that they had to contact David Wilcock. And all the archangels in heaven because David Wilcock is just so important that all the archangels in heaven had to contact David Wilcock, right? Yeah, because he's just that important, man. We got to get David Wilcock on the case to save Earth.
Importantly, at the right time, so that you have greater faith in what's going on here. So now that we've gotten all this Valiant Thor stuff, it very much seems to tie into the Law of One, which grew out of the human ET.
It does tie into the Law of One. Both are bullshit. Both of them are bullshit. That's how it ties in, David Wilcock. They're both bullshit.
Contactee data from the 1950s. We'll talk about this in the next show on more depth, in which, again, in the Law of One, telepathic verbal information was generated with remarkable accuracy. And there were many attempts made before Valiant approached the U.S. in 1957. Now, I'm going to jump ahead one more time. Just let me do this for a second while I get to the place I wanted to go.
Poor David Wilcock. No Beth to push all the buttons for him anymore. He's got to produce things himself. I wonder if he yells at himself when he
Okay.
screws something up.
Good enough. So, the 1950s
Douche
ET
nozzle.
contacts, I'm not really going to go into a whole lot of detail about that now because we're already, again, really pretty
He is
far.
a carny.
We're past the 2-hour mark. So, somebody said Valiant Thor is on Venus now and wants nothing to do with humans. That is not true. Valiant Thor is very, very interested in our survival, and that's what they're working on, and they will never stop. So the Law of One was a big, big part of this, and again, it's been my main source of spiritual wisdom since 96, and then it led to my own contact in 96 November. So 11 months later, approximately, I began having a telepathic interaction with a source that said it was Archangel Michael.
He never said it was Archangel Michael, and the Law of One is not Christian. It is based on it's supposed to be the Egyptian god Ra who channeled this, not an archangel. Now suddenly he's got to go Christian. It's an archangel now.
It used analogies of the flaming sword, and of course, I've now seen a few different references where he uses the word valiant. So in the time loop from 1997, it's become clear now.
Oh, he's experiencing
that
time
Valiant
loops.
Thor, Law of One, it's all interconnected. Very, very clear. So as I said, there's this amazing new prophetic book that I hope you're all going to get, the Michael Prophecies. And at first it was just 1999, but now I've discovered by going through more of the transcripts from 96 through 2000, as I was pulling in all this telepathic information, speaking the words of Archangel Michael every day, not being aware of what they say, trying to get my mind away from it, not paying any attention to it.
Yeah, and by the way, it might seem harsh to some people, but I think that he should be arrested and convicted of consumer fraud. If he's selling a book that he is claiming is been dictated to him or prophecies from an archangel, and he can't prove that it actually came from an archangel, to me, that's consumer fraud. He will never prove it. It's bullshit. And, he stitches all this stuff together. Like somehow Valiant Thor, like the Archangel Michael is telling him about a fake alien story from the 1950s, right? Sure.
And if you do it right, then you start getting future prophecies. What I really didn't understand is that all of the transcripts, 96 through 2000, are loaded with references to COVID, to vaccines, to you name it. I mean, it's amazing.
He did not, the term of the latest pandemic, what it's called, what that virus is called, did not exist in the 1990s, you dumbass.
All of the connections of the stuff that's happening now, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, war in Afghanistan.
He predicted all of this in the 1990s, right? But here's an interesting part. He can't prove that those writings were written in the 1990s. So what's to stop a new age con artist grifter from just writing a bunch of shit and saying, I wrote this in the 1990s and look, it predicts the future.
Afghanistan, the fact that they dropped the ball on that and that all the weapons were seized, all of these amazing different things that have been going on are all linked up in the book, and I put red line, I highlight the text in red.
We're about to get to his superpowers, friends.
So this is
Patrick
again
Sheehan with
really
another
the
kind
core
and generous
quote that I think is the most
$4.99 super
significant out of
chat
all the
saying,
Michael
I deserve a
prophecies.
beer. Thank you. I agree
Where they
with you.
say that we are going to have a coup over the military-industrial complex, and most importantly,
Thank you for helping us to praise the cash,
UFO
Patrick
cover-up.
Sheehan.
So I've already published the October through December 1999 prophecies in the previous YouTube videos that I've done here. And the remainder of 1999 is being converted into at least 2 volumes now, because I have 487 single.
He's talking about David Wilcock. It was playing over the bumper. You guys didn't hear it, but I did. He's talking about he's expanding his Michael prophecies into 2 more books. Because guess what? David Wilcock needs money, and you got to milk these new age dummies for as much cash as possible.
Single space commentary pages, but there's no commentary there. The team reviewed the manuscript and they said that the passages are too puzzling.
What team? What team is he talking about? He has a team?
And I need interpretations. So then I was looking for an introduction to the book, which I've now found. I knew that at one point Archangel Michael did kind of introduce himself.
Oh, Archangel Michael wrote the foreword or the introduction to his book. Sure he did, David Wilcock.
This one is not in the version that I gave the Alliance. I found it in 1997, and I added it in at the beginning. But in the course of looking for it, I stumbled into a new time loop. This was in early April. So April is when my life really started to get very strange, with the memories of traumatic abuse, with telekinesis. All these strange things were happening.
Yeah. At the same time, he remembered getting butt banged by Draco reptilian aliens and molested by satanic pedophiles. Apparently, he got superpowers. Telekinesis events.
Okay. They began happening far more often. And what actually triggered all this, believe it or not, was John Trump getting a hole-in-one.
Oh yeah, remember in the last stream he said that Donald Trump gets a hole-in-one, a 200-yard hole-in-one playing golf because he's got telekinetic superpowers.
187 yards.
187 yards.
People don't even want to believe this. They're mad at him. They don't like it. They're like, well, how in the world? It's not even possible. 187 yards?
It's entirely possible. It's a law of probability, you dummy. If you sat there at 187 yards and hit that ball 300 times, 3,000 times, one of those attempts is going to be a hole-in-one. If it was not possible to get a hole-in-one at 187 yards, nobody would ever have gotten a hole-in-one in the history of humanity. And that's clearly not the case. Your logic is so terrible here. It just, this wackadoo can't even, like, I don't get it.
You swing at a ball that's like this big and it falls into the hole? Come on.
Yeah, it's called golf, you dumbass.
But then look at what we see here. Ernie Els, who is a golf pro, was wearing his contact lenses when Trump made the hole-in-one, and he said he saw it clearly. Well, guess what? This was the result of a psychic working with all the golf pros, including Ernie Els,
that's another thing he said. All the golf pros also have telekinetic superpowers, and that's how they get holes in one. Not athletic ability, not practice. They all have a psychic training them so that they too can have telekinetic superpowers, you know, just like David Wilcock and Donald Trump.
Who were there with Trump that day. And Archangel Michael says, as I've said before, Trump lenses other people's work into a work product. That is what he's really, really great at. And it's obvious.
Yeah, the Archangel Michael is really concerned about Donald Trump. So he had to go to David Wilcock and tell him about Donald Trump's telekinetic superpowers. Sure, David Wilcock.
Obviously taken this Great Awakening thing to a whole new level. That underlying ability is phenomenal. And so I didn't actually like him in the beginning, frankly, and he has earned my full respect, appreciation.
Yeah, he's a huge
honor,
Trumper, this dumbass.
He's
a MAGA 17th letter of the alphabet idiot, David Wilcock is.
It would be
he is a MAGA 17th letter of the alphabet idiot.
Easy for me to do one more launch, take your money, run away from you, live in this house in this beautiful place, and never have to worry about money and never have to take a risk and just live alone and do nothing. Okay, I could do that. I could have it.
That's essentially what he just described is essentially what he does. He lives in a mansion. He doesn't work, right? He doesn't have a job. He doesn't. And look at the quality of his so-called work, stitching together some alien contactee story that was bullshit in the 50s and it's still bullshit. And, you know, the Archangel Michael and the Law of One channeled garbage nonsense books, stitching that shit together is his work.
Enough money that I could do nothing. But instead, I took my money and I invested in hover cars and power plants and garbage technology.
And you're going to lose every penny. And I'm happy. I'm laughing about you giving all that money to another scammer.
And I'm going to continue earning because I want to be out there. I don't want to run away.
Yeah.
But in the course of this...
He's going to continue earning. You mean I'm going to continue selling you people garbage? Because that's what I do.
Process and getting into the monastery, which is what the time loop calls this house. They've definitely said they wanted me in a monastery. They wanted me at 8,600 feet. They wanted me on the mountaintop, the pyramid type of house. Because, you know, the log cabin home has no metal. So
I agree,
Richard. Pyramid power. The same thing that happens if you stay in the Great Pyramid is what's happening in this house, especially because I'm up in the mountains. Same thing that happens to the Tibetans that are meditating in the Himalayas at 8,000, 9,000 foot altitude. You meditate on empty awareness. The self is creator, okay? So I'm having all these things going on. I start having this time loop in 1997, which includes the memory that I was abused. And I'm okay with it now. I mean, it didn't happen to me at all in my normal life. And if they do this amnesia thing, it's like a parallel lifetime.
Well, what life did it happen in? Oh, it's a parallel lifetime.
Show. But anyway, getting back to the executive function, I said, look, there is no way. I'm sorry.
Wait a second. So now he's saying that he was butt banged by Draco reptilian satanic alien overlords in a parallel lifetime, not in his normal life. What the hell does that even mean? And this is extremely offensive to real victims of sexual abuse. So you're saying you were abused, but it didn't happen in your normal real world life. It happened in a parallel lifetime. What the hell is this man even saying? He's giving himself an out for being sexually abused. This is nonsensical.
Don, or Mr. President, there's no way that you could have pulled this off without supernatural help. It's just not, it doesn't ring right. And yet, how did it get in the hole? How did it happen?
Donald Trump had supernatural. Which one is it? Did he have supernatural assistance to get a hole in one? Or did he use his telekinetic superpowers? Before you said he used his telekinetic superpowers in your last stream. Now you're saying it was divine intervention because God is so concerned with Donald Trump doing well in a golf game that he would tip the ball and make it a hole in one. Just wackadoo nonsense.
Well, the answer is telekinesis. And
so
apparently,
so it is telekinesis. Yeah.
We all know there's been multiple attempts on his life, and they're not going to work because...
What attempts on Trump's life have there been? None that I'm aware of. I'm sure that he has gotten threats. But I believe that if there was assassination attempts on the sitting or former president of the United States, we would have heard about those assassination attempts. There was no assassination attempts that I'm aware of.
Whether we can control it or not is another story. So executive function means that you will be protected from assassination if you are out there on the front lines as a hero, doing something to help humanity get through this horrible problem that we're in, which has led to this tipping point of peak global crisis, which everybody is so afraid of right now.
Yeah, and here it is, this argument that if you're out there doing good things for the world, you have executive function and you can't be killed. Tell that to John F. Kennedy. Tell that to Martin Luther King. Tell that to all of the other good people who have been assassinated or murdered. Tell that to John Lennon, right? This is nonsensical garbage, and it is offensive to everyone who has a family member, a friend, colleague, or whatever, somebody that they care about that was the victim of murder. Because he's essentially saying they must have been a shitty person. Donald Trump is such a great person that he has protection, divine protection. He can't be assassinated. Bullshit.
Okay.
Donald Trump is a con artist and a liar. Maybe that's why David Wilcock loves him so much, because they're like two peas in a pod. And by the way, in full disclosure, I once had a business relationship with the Trump casinos in Atlantic City, and they were horrible to deal with. They never paid their bills. I used to have to go twist their arm, like literally get in a car, drive to Atlantic City, and tell them, if you don't pay me right now, I am cutting off all of your supplies. You won't have shit. You won't have napkins or toilet paper unless I get a check right now. That's how shitty of a business person. Donald Trump doesn't pay any of his suppliers. He's a piece of shit. He conned everybody, stiffed people who built his buildings. And this guy is telling us that Donald Trump is such a great person doing such great things for the world that he has divine protection from being murdered. Sure.
That's where we're at. So when this happened to 45, I said, whoa. He is starting to develop abilities that he probably didn't have before. And
Donald Trump got a hole-in-one, so David Wilcock thinks he's getting his superpowers. That's what it must be. He's getting superpowers.
This is very interesting and very curious. And then, simultaneously, all these very, very interesting and at times incredibly disturbing telekinetic events started to happen to me.
Yeah, and then David Wilcock got his superpowers.
You might not want to believe me, but during early April, it started to happen 2 or 3 times a day. Now, I'm not saying that it's like a physical glass is moving across. Just it's not that kind of stuff.
No, and now listen to this explanation he gives for what he's telling people, that he has telekinetic superpowers. But then we listen to the explanation of what led him to believe that he's getting telekinetic superpowers, right? And by the way, an adept or ascendant master traditionally in New Age belief would have some kind of super psychic powers.
One of the things that's
essentially, if we read between the lines of all of this bullshit, he's telling everybody that he's becoming an ascendant master.
Weird and annoying about this is that it's always threshold. It's like, well, yeah, it moved, but did I do that? Was it intentional? Did it happen on purpose? I don't know. Things are moving, yeah, but it's not like it's floating in the air. It's not. It's small stuff. It's like one of the ones recently was I looked at a log. I was packing up logs for the fire because we had a snowstorm here a week ago, and I had packed up all the logs onto the cart that I'm going to wheel it into the house with. And I said, you know, maybe I should pick up that one last piece of wood. I want to pick up that one last piece of wood, put it on top. And I say, I want to pick up that piece of wood. And then as I do, it moved by 3 inches by itself. It just goes, whoosh. Now it fell downhill.
A log, ladies and gentlemen, a piece of wood fell downhill as he was gathering up wood and putting it on a cart. And this is why he's saying he has telekinetic superpowers. He has telekinetic superpowers because a piece of wood in a pile of wood moved downhill. This is nonsensical garbage. But hey, Sub 689, thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and your support of the show. It is much, much appreciated. And we thank you and viewers like you, we're a viewer-supported show, for helping us to praise the cash.
Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash.
What a great place to stop this, too. Look at this guy's mug. Jesus Christ. No wonder his wife left him. I mean, I'm ugly, but this guy's like movie ugly, right? Like monster movie ugly. Jesus Christ. Okay. 1 second. I saw a comment here. Mysterion says, when you're at the top of the pyramid of people, you get access to some knowledge of those under you. You could be a dumbass and still look super intelligent. If you say so, Mysterion, I'll take your word for it. Well, let's get back to this.
Okay, well, yeah, it fell downhill, but it fell downhill at exactly the moment that I said I should pick that thing up and I want to put it on the top of the cart. So there's a lot of these, and the ones that were the scariest, honestly, was when I got a telepathic voice in my head corresponding with the movement of physical objects. And as I said before, this proved to be surprisingly upsetting. But the one that really got me screaming like a little girl, I'm not kidding, folks, shrieking, crying, was that I downloaded a free PDF copy of Stranger at the Pentagon, which I found on archive.org. Okay, it's there. Stranger at the Pentagon PDF. Just type that in, you'll find it. Well, I was reading the book again, and I know from what the briefings are, this is the most accurate book about the Valiant Thor.
He said briefings again. Everybody take a shot.
Out there that are really dubious, so just be careful. If it says Valiant Thor, it doesn't mean it's real. There's a lot more detail to the Valiant Thor story than what you're going to get in Stranger at the Pentagon, and I intend to get more briefings on it. I want to learn a lot more about this because I really know very little.
Okay, who is he getting briefings from? He's not getting briefings. This guy's so full of shit.
But I will tell you that telekinesis and elements appear to be very interconnected. Wind, water are the two elements that seem to be the most related to telekinetic effects. Earth appears to be more about how you draw the telekinesis out of the earth. And I'm going to talk about this in the Ascension philosophy. I'm going to go in way more detail on the telekinesis exercises that Michael has been giving me telepathically. So, you know, take it or leave it, whether you believe that this is true. But if he wrote a book in 1999 that's telling the future now, he's probably telling me the truth about how to get your telekinesis to work too, because it is actually getting results. I am getting it to work. I never, ever thought this would happen. I never thought I would be able to develop this ability unless I died and ascended into some angelic being. But apparently it's happening to me first because it's going to be happening to you later on. And I'm here to tell you how to get ready for it. So this was a very, very strange one where I was in the tub because another part of the thing is the telekinesis bathtub. So the telekinesis bath is one of the things that Archangel Michael has been making me do. I have to take a bath. I cannot take a shower. I am forbidden to take a regular shower. I am supposed to bathe, and I'm supposed to bathe every day, but only in a bathtub. And then another one of the really funny things is that you have to...
He's only supposed to take baths, not showers, because that would mess up his superpowers.
Pee in the bathtub. He wants your DNA in the water. So I have been using scented oils.
Is he saying that he pisses in the bathtub and then lays in his own piss?
Perfume company out there that has some really wonderful stuff. I recommend, I'm not going to say what it is. I recommend, let's just say, okay, well, this one is generic enough. Even if you just do sandalwood and eucalyptus, those to me seem to be two of the most activating because a lot of these compounds that smell really good have what are called sesquiterpenes, which are
Jesus Christ
smell compounds.
This guy is an expert on so many stupid things, right? He's an expert on bath oils. And no offense to his masculinity, but men shouldn't know shit about bath oils. You know, like for real. If you know this much about bath oils, I don't know what that says about you, but it doesn't make you very masculine male.
That actually awaken your pineal gland.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Bath oils can awaken your pineal gland now, according to him.
Sandalwood definitely, Palo Santo definitely, eucalyptus definitely. There's other ones that you can find. I would say just try it out and see what bath oils work for you.
Now I can't get the image of David Wilcock laying in a bath pissing himself and laying in a bath full of piss water with eucalyptus oil in it. Look, I'm sorry. If you piss in the bathtub while you're laying in it, eucalyptus oil isn't going to help. You're still laying in your own piss, and that's gross.
But the peeing part apparently is important because it's getting your DNA outside your body into a medium that touches your skin.
David Wilcock is saying that if you want to become an ascendant master, what you got to do, here's what you got to do, everybody, right? Listen, if you want to become an ascendant master, you got to get yourself some eucalyptus oil and then, golden shower. You got to get yourself some eucalyptus oil and then fill up the bathtub and get in there and piss all in the bathtub. Just piss all in that bathtub and then just lay there in your own piss. Gross, man. That is gross, David Wilcock. All right, let's continue with the golden shower, piss in the bathtub to become to look. If pissing in the bathtub gave you superpowers, I might try it.
Which gets into this whole inside out thing where you have to turn yourself inside out and become the universe. So apparently peeing in the bathtub is a good way to get you there. I don't know. I'm just following my instructions. I've noticed that there's an incredible amount of grief purging that goes on in the bathtub. Almost every time I take a bath, I'm releasing pain and sadness. And also, at least in the earlier stages, he wants you to stay in the bathtub until all the water drains out. So you gotta pull the freaking thing and then sit in there, wait for the tub to drain out. It's a pain in the ass.
Sorry, friends. I really think that David Wilcock might be cracking up because, look, if you told a mental health professional that angels are telling you to piss in your own bathtub and lay in it, they might medicate you, right? Like, imagine going to a therapist or a mental health professional and tell them, listen, I've been talking to the Archangel Michael, and he told me that I need to put some eucalyptus oil in the bathtub and then piss in the bathtub and just lay there in my own piss. You might get committed, David Wilcock, or whoever tells a mental health professional that angels are telling him to lay in a bathtub full of his own piss.
But another big thing is that I've been healing my joints. And so when you're in the tub, if you have any issues with your joints where there's stiffness and pain, I've been doing rolfing very extensively. And it's all about finding the part of the range of motion that doesn't want to move. And then you fix that range of motion by actually working it. So it's similar to like physical therapy. And it turns out that I had enormous atrophy in my right leg. So another one of the things that Michael has been going into, and you're going to hear a lot more about this in Ascension Philosophy. This is the online course I'm going to be launching really pretty soon, because it looks like with my aerospace work that I'm going to have to be doing a lot of meetings and a lot of traveling. And so this is probably one of the last times I'm going to be able to do Sunday teachings week after week without being interrupted. And it might even get to the point where I'm going to have to fly during the week and then come back to do the show. I don't know. But I'm going to try to get this thing knocked out really soon in the next few weeks. 6-week course.
Yeah, new course, $333.
So you wouldn't think that telekinesis would be so intricate, but here's another thing. Michael has told me now that you cannot have telekinesis work until the bindings in your muscle fibers are alleviated. And so it turns out that I had a very, very intense amount of scar tissue in my right leg that made my foot want to stick out to the side like this instead of going forward, that caused pain in certain parts of the range of motion, and it caused me to always want to stand in a funny way where I put my foot off to the side and walk in a funny way that people said was like a duck. How do you get your toes to turn?
David Wilcock walks like a duck.
Inward. Well, it turns out that the whole entire interior area of my legs was all dead. The muscles weren't getting blood flow, and when they don't get blood flow, they can't heal and they can't grow and they can't contract. So most of the muscle in my leg wasn't even working. And it turns out that this was apparently
if most of the muscle in one of your legs wasn't working, you wouldn't be able to walk, you dumbass. Jesus Christ, why am I listening to this idiot?
Intentional.
Oh, because you guys want me to listen to him. Okay, that's why.
Michael is telling me now that I came in with such DNA upgrades, and a lot of you listening to this probably have had these too. You'll never know it because they do this all at night. And again, the positive beings don't torture you. This is more like
they upgrade his DNA at night. The Archangel Michael is upgrading his DNA at night and telling him that he has upgraded DNA. He might be cracking up, this dude.
German paperclip kind of thing that I got sucked into as a result of living next door to General Electric, who was running Disney World and had a contract to make all the animatronic machines down there, by the way. And they were building them all in Schenectady right across the street from my house. We're going to get into a lot more of that later. Why I think they're using animatronics and hypnosis together, and how they might torture people with animatronics, and the people don't even realize that what they're seeing is not
Disney animatronics are going to torture people and hypnotize them.
Not real, but prepares them for something later on that is real. You got to think about sick people and how they might do this kind of stuff. So I found out from Michael that until I had gotten my leg descarred, that it could bend and move easily without pain in the right range of motion, that I wouldn't have the telekinesis. So this is why in all the ancient cultures, the Taoists, the Buddhists, etc., that there's always a movement art. They're always doing these kind of interesting things with their hands, standing in funny ways. There's martial arts, there's Tai Chi, Qigong, all this kind of stuff apparently grows out of these cultures where they are tuning into cosmic consciousness, tuning into their higher selves.
Sure.
And there are
You gotta
physical
get the
movements that the
superpowers.
body can make that actually help you make what the insiders have called plasmoids.
Oh my God.
So
the Archangel Michael came to him and said, listen, David Wilcock, we want you to get your superpowers, but until you fix your dead leg and the scar tissue in your dead leg, your superpowers are not going to work. So we need you to lay in a bathtub full of piss and work on your leg before you get your superpowers. David Wilcock is melting down before our very eyes. He is cracking up. I'm beginning to think he really does. If he really is hearing voices, he better get some medical attention.
So the whole focus of the art is in getting these.
And why would an angel tell you to lay in a lay in a bathtub full of your own piss? That makes no sense.
Balls to form, these plasma balls to form, which actually do have gravitational force and therefore can push people. They can move objects. They can levitate objects. You just have to get the ball. The ball lightning is really what it is. And they will form from your intent, but you have to be able to throw the energy, and you have to have your muscle fibers unencumbered, which means if you have any muscle knots, you got to get rid of them, or else this isn't going to work. So that means yoga, that means martial arts, that means Tai Chi, Qigong, whatever it is. Get your body all worked out so that you can stretch easily and comfortably with no pain. And so I've been working on this for years. And now that I'm just about done and I'm into like the very, very last part of my psoas muscle in my hip and the hip adductor a little bit, but that's really it. It's the psoas and the adductor, and there's a little bit of atrophy in them, but it's almost gone.
Oh no.
I have definitely noticed that as I get these knots out of my muscles, that the telekinesis is going way up. And they're telling me you cannot get this to work if you don't do this. So you really do need to stretch out your body. So
all right. So far we've learned that the Archangel Michael gave Donald Trump superpowers so he could do well at golf. And the Archangel Michael came to David Wilcock and told him that he had to lay in a bathtub full of his own piss with some oil and work out his muscles so that his superpowers would work. Great.
There's a good argument for yoga. Now, another part of the thing, as I was saying, is the elements. Telekinesis, as I've found out, is very involved in elements. The element that Michael prefers to use the most to get large telekinesis to happen is wind. I have had an incredible number of very, very strange wind synchronicities going on.
Oh God, the wind blew it. David Wilcock. It must be the Archangel Michael talking to me.
Where, for example, the wind will come in and hit just one window, but not the other windows. And it pounds the one window right at the moment that it needed to pound it to make me go, oh, wow. Or it'll pound the ceiling or pound the door.
Yeah, David Wilcock, you dumbass. Wind blows, and it blows on windows and doors and sometimes causes strange things to happen, like a door to slam shut or a door to open. Jesus Christ.
There was one case when I was outside and I was having a very interesting set of thoughts, and the wind blew the door open and this huge freaking noise. And another very, very strange Michaelism was that I got a chainsaw, steel 151, model 151, which is a small one because you don't want the big one. I got
if you're a dumbass like David Wilcock, you don't want a big chainsaw. You want a little girly one. Sure.
the pants and I got the helmet and all that. And I was saying, okay, the first thing I want to do is chop down these 3 trees with my chainsaw. That night, there was this outrageous windstorm. This was earlier in the year, and I go out the next day, and 2 of the 3 trees have been broken in half by the wind. After I said I want to cut those 3 trees down.
It's called a coincidence, David Wilcock, you dumbass.
And by breaking in half, it made it a lot safer. So wind is clearly one of the things that is the most powerful, and we'll see that in a second, but then also water.
Yeah, God is not God thought, I'm going to make the wind blow and take these trees down to make it safer for David Wilcock. Jesus Christ, this guy is such a narcissistic, self-important asshole.
So this was the one that really, really freaking blew my doors off. Okay, because it had already been happening over and over again. And another one is,
remember, this is all proof that he has superpowers to him. He's trying to convince us all and his audience that the wind blew some trees down, so I must have telekinetic superpowers. And the Archangel Michael told me to lay in a bathtub full of my own piss so that I could get the superpowers.
This is the Archangel Michael light. I have this particular light switch that is intermittent. Sometimes it's on, sometimes it's off. And no, somebody says his name is Val, not Valiant. Well, it's Valiant. He does say that his name is Valiant. If you go actually read the book, he calls himself Val or Valiant. Okay, either one. So here I am in the bathtub, which I'm supposed to be in every day. I'm doing my thing. I got the pineal gland oils. I got the
piss.
But there's a little bit of water on my finger, so I left a little bit of water on the touchpad, and I just touched it. I touch it. I sit back, and on its own, let's go back to the slide. It literally was the most outrageous. It very quickly by itself.
The wind blew and changed the page the book was on, and this dumbass thinks he's got telekinetic superpowers from the Archangel Michael. This man needs a mental health professional.
Rolled from page.
I mean, could you imagine? Like, what if your family members? What if you told anybody in the audience or within the sound of my voice? What if you told your family members, your wife, your husband, your brother, your parents? Listen, the Archangel Michael told me to lay in a bathtub full of my own piss so that I could get superpowers, and then a book changed pages. The wind blew and a book changed pages. So that was my confirmation that the Archangel Michael was right about me sitting in a bathtub full of my own piss to get to, and now I have superpowers. Oh, and also the wind blew and knocked 2 trees down. That's divine intervention and confirmation that the Archangel Michael telling me to sit in a bathtub full of piss and get superpowers is real. They would have you committed to a mental institution.
Page 18 to page 28, just like, and it didn't do it kind of like it was slow and then it sped up and then it slowed down again. It was very fast, and it did it all at one speed. It just went, and it's done. And the whole entire book scrolled to page 28.
I agree.
From page 18. And this is the exact moment where
Bathtub full of piss
meets the President of the United States. And again, going back to the previous slide, it caused me to completely lose it. I mean, it was such an all-defining moment in light of all the other things I was learning, in light of realizing that some very bad dreams I had as a kid.
Yeah, he's crying and pissing in the bathtub.
That, some very sick people brought me into a program because of my intelligence and tortured me. But on the other hand, I got a high IQ out of the deal. So there you go. I'm happy to use it for the betterment of humanity if possible.
Oh my God. He's using his high IQ for the betterment of humanity by telling people the Archangel Michael told him to lay in a bathtub of his own piss.
So let's talk about this moment where Valiant meets POTUS, because that's what they wanted me to read. So this is where it scrolled to, and this is what I read.
Yeah, the Archangel Michael wanted him to read about how a fake alien met the President of the United States. Bullshit. Nobody ever talked about that. An alien met the president. He never told his family, his wife, his children that he met an alien from Venus. But the Archangel Michael, wanted David Wilcock to have telekinetic superpowers so that he could flip to this exact page in the book.
As I'm now sitting there in terror and tears about how in the world did this happen. It says, suddenly the door opened, and 6 armed guards led me down to what appeared to be an elevator. Now, it always says Vi, because I think that the optical character recognition assumed that this is talking about Steve Vai. So when you go read the online PDF, it always says Vi, but it means Val. It's just that it interpreted the L as an I. Okay, that's what's going on here. Suddenly, the door opened and 6 armed guards led Val to what appeared to be an elevator. It went rapidly to the bottommost level. Maximum security was in place. After transferring to an underground train, they sped toward the White House. 6 officials, 6 armed guards, and 3 Secret Service men escorted him into the office of President Eisenhower. Wow.
So 6 officials, 6 armed guards, and 3 Secret Service agents all took an alien to meet the president, and none of them ever talked about that. Not one person ever corroborated this bullshit story in a bullshit book ever. 6 armed guards and 6 officials, that's 12, 15 people were witness to President Eisenhower meeting this alien, and nobody ever talked about it. And never. Sure, David Wilcock, sure. To believe in this nonsense and then expect other people to believe in it, it's so ridiculous, so over the top fake. But I used to believe that David Wilcock was smarter than this, and that he didn't believe any of the bullshit that he spews or hucksters, but that it was just all a con or a grift. But the more I observe him, the more I think he is the stupidest, most gullible idiot on planet Earth. And as long as it fits his already existing beliefs, he believes them. Like believing a senile old man who had bottles. By the way, Pete Peterson had bottles of piss and dead cats all in his house that got foreclosed on. We talked to witnesses at the scene. Well, I didn't, but somebody did. We found a video of it. They spoke to the people that cleaned out Pete Peterson's house. He had bottles of piss and dead cats all over his house. A very mentally ill, sick man. David Wilcock believed all that guy's fake alien stories, and that he worked for Ronald Reagan and the government and the secret space program and all that bullshit. David Wilcock ran with his stories.
From behind the desk, the president rose while the Secret Service men remained nervous and uneasy. As he extended his hand to shake that of the president, the Secret Service men drew their revolvers and pointed them at Val. That's pretty rude. Following the nod of the president, they reluctantly lowered their guns. Standing in front of his desk, the president said, "Of course, you know we have suspended all rules of protocol. I have a good feeling toward you. Please, sir, what is your name?" He replied, "Valiant." And then, "Where do you come from?" "I come from the planet your Bible calls the morning and the evening star." "Venus?"
I live on
"Yes,
Venus.
sir." "Can you prove this?" he asked. "Well, what do you constitute as proof?" The president quickly retorted, "Well, I don't know." And then Valiant says, "Well, will you come with me to my ship? I'll give you a ride." The president answered with a quizzical look and said, "My friend, I'm not allowed to come and go as I please. There are others to be considered, committees to be consulted, security measures to be adhered to. Please spend some time with us here. Let's get better acquainted and learn more about one another." So this is the full page. It's Valiant meeting the president. And again, I believe the reason this was shown to me was to emphasize that the plan that we're seeing now had this archangelic, divine, Christian
Smoke him
support.
if you got him
If you
there,
read
Mr.
Stranger
Catfish.
Pentagon, Valiant Thor always wants to talk about Christ. You cannot get him to stop talking about it. He loves Jesus. He loves everything about it. And so
Good point, Richard.
that was very strange to these people, because why would this human-looking entity show up who's so into Jesus? Okay? Well, I certainly did not expect that I was going to end up crying today or telling you about traumatic abuse memories, but it happened, and we just go with it. So I think I've pretty much gotten over it now. If these horrible things did happen to me, I'm glad that they're not happening anymore, and I'm glad that I am free now. And that's really the key of what we're about to see. I am free.
If these things happen to me, he doesn't even know if he was really butt banged by aliens. Then why? Listen, if you're not sure that you were butt banged by aliens, why tell everybody you were butt banged by aliens and molested and eaten and killed and resurrected, and then say it happened in a parallel lifetime? Or I'm not sure if this is real, or if this happened. Why tell people if you're not sure? It just makes no sense whatsoever and is offensive to real victims of abuse.
Free now. This is amazing what happened to me. So as I go through this Valiant Thor thing, and the book is scrolling on its own, again, I cried for probably 10 or 15 minutes, just heaving frickin' insanity. Insane crying, because you cannot tell me that scrolling right to the moment where Valiant met the President of the United States is some random coincidence. That the
I'm going to tell you that wind blowing and changing the page of a book to where a fake alien meets the president is a coincidence.
Laptop just did this on its own. Oh, it's just because of the drop of water and it electromagnetically interacted. Well, why didn't it?
Oh, this wasn't a physical book. This was on a laptop that he just touched with wet fingers. And this dumbass thinks that it's divine intervention.
Electromagnetically interact right away. Why did I go back? And the water was already there. And then it scrolls exactly 10 pages very quickly, and then it's...
Yeah, and I just got a terrible image of David Wilcock laying in a bathtub full of his own piss with a laptop reading stupid fake alien stories. Great.
Stopped. You can think that it's crap. You can think that I'm making this up.
I think it's crap.
I know what happened.
I think you're making it up.
I cried for 15 minutes. I know.
I believe you cried for 15 minutes because look at you. But I would cry for a lot more than 15 minutes if I was this dude.
It scared the crap out of me. It really did. And at the time that I did the interview with Mike.
And anybody ever read PDFs on a computer? You know, strange things happen. You scroll too far. It scrolls on its own. This is nonsensical. It doesn't, to him, this means he's got angels speaking to him and he's got superpowers. I call bullshit on that.
That people really love. Again, go to his site, as I've said earlier in the show, and look up that interview that I did with him recently, because I talk about the executive function thing. And Trump just got another hole-in-one, so it's proven that it's continuing to happen. And I'll tell you, it's happening like crazy over here. But there was one that was very, very, very amazing, and I really wanted to talk about it before we had a chance to be done here. So again, I end up looking for the introduction to Michael Prophecies, and then thought that it was in 1998, and I couldn't find it because I knew there was a place where Michael introduced himself and said some really beautiful things, and I found it in 1997.
Why didn't he release any of these Archangel Michael bullshit in 1997, 1998? He was active. He had a website. Never released anything about the Archangel Michael talking to him. Never spoke of it. Never. Now he's doing it at a time he desperately needs new material to sell stupid people.
I think I first started looking in November, December of 97, and then I went back to January, and I did January, February, March, April, and then I got into May, and the time loop kind of wore off, and Michael basically told me, yeah, this particular time loop kind of went through those parts of 97. There's other stuff. I'm seeing that everything is time looped now, and so I'm not allowed to read past May yet. I got to get this book done first. There's other.
By the way, if he keeps talking about time loops, I believe that he owes C.W. Chandler some royalties, because that's his concept, time loops, and then the nostalgia loop and time travel through nostalgia loops. That's all C.W. Chandler's material. Maybe he's been watching people like C.W. Chandler or others to get some material to steal from. He never talked about time loops before C.W. Chandler talked about it for years before him.
Stuff in there that I'm sure is going to be exciting, and I'm probably going to have to do multiple volumes, because now I've realized there's a lot of great Archangel Michael / Valiant Thor / Law of One stuff that I received that is very pertinent to what's going on right now.
Yeah, because a fake science fiction book that's supposed to be about a real alien is really pertinent to what's going on. There are people dying in wars right now, you dumbass. There are people suffering all over the world, and you think that a fake alien story from the 50s is super important to people right now.
The 1997 time loop was amazing because not only did it validate that apparently I was a member of the secret space program and I did go through traumatic abuse, but that I also have now cleared all of my karmic debt.
Oh, this is a big statement. First of all, he's never claimed that he was a victim of abuse before now, when he desperately needs new material to feed stupid people, right? And then Now he's saying that he was definitely a member of the secret space program. He's been to space like Corey Good, right? Maybe they wiped his memory of it and he couldn't remember it until now, right? This is ridiculous. So in one live stream, he claims that he was butt banged by Draco reptilian aliens, that the Archangel Michael told him to lay in a bathtub full of his own piss so that he could get superpowers. And now he's saying that he was definitely a member of the secret space program and he has cleared all of his karmic debt. Hey, David Wilcock, I want to ask you something. You helped your senile old man, fake whistleblower source, Pete Peterson, scam the UFO community out of $60,000. Did you give every one of those people who contributed to that fake GoFundMe that we proved here on my show? We did a whole investigation into it and proved that that was a complete and total scam you ran with your friend Pete Peterson. Did you give every dollar of that $60,000 back? Also, we proved that he ran a PayPal donation scam with his buddy Emery Smith, whereby he claimed that Emery Smith was under deep state attack and was taken to the hospital. And it turns out that Emery Smith was there for alcohol poisoning. He drank so much that his family took him to the hospital. He wasn't there due to a deep state attack. He was there due to an attack of a vodka bottle, you dummy. And that scam raised over $50,000. Did you give every penny of those people's $50,000 back for the Emery Smith PayPal donation scam? Did you give every penny of the Pete Peterson $60,000 scam back to its victims? And another thing, you ran a charity for 3 years and raised, as I recall, I'm going from memory, so if I'm incorrect on the exact numbers, people will have to forgive me. Your charity raised something like $150,000, I believe, in 3 years. And you did zero charitable work with that money. You spent it all on equipment, software. What was it? 1 year you spent $4,000 on meals and entertainment for yourself. Out of that $150,000, you claimed on your website that you were supporting these other charities and organizations. We reached out to them. You didn't give a penny to any of those organizations. Later, we would find out that you gave a very insignificant amount of that $150,000 to one or more of those charities you listed. Did you give all of the victims of your charity back every penny of that $150,000? These, my friends, there are 3 major scams that he was involved in. And I call them scams. I'm not saying allegedly. These 3 things that he was involved in were all scams that made victims of members of the UFO community and the New Age community, the conspiracy land community, whatever. He has something like, $250,000 of victims. He stole, in my opinion, these scams were a theft and taking money from weak-minded, vulnerable people. We have 3 different complete and total scams, and people can argue about his charity not being a scam. He collected $150,000, told everybody it was for charity, did zero charitable work. He gave a tiny fraction of that money to some other charity. The rest of the money he and his wife apparently spent on themselves. So that's 150 from the charity. That's 50 from the Emery Smith PayPal donation scam. That's 200. And there's $60,000 from the Pete Peterson GoFundMe scam. So that's $260,000 of money taken from victims. Did you give every penny of that $260,000 back? Because if you didn't, sitting here and telling people on a public live stream that you have cleared all of your karmic debt is a complete and total bold-faced lie. You were involved in the GoFundMe scam for Pete Peterson. You were involved in pumping up and promoting the Emery Smith, I'm under attack by the deep state. They left a bullet on my counter. They broke in my house. I ended up in the hospital. Yeah, he ended up in the hospital with alcohol poisoning. His former father-in-law came out as a whistleblower and told us all the truth about that. Then you got your charity. $150,000 raised. You did not give a penny of all that money back. So to sit there and suggest that you have no karmic debt is a complete and total lie, David Wilcock.
That from past lives, from present lives, whatever the heck is going on, I have arrived at this point today where unless I was to create big new karma, I have basically cleared my karma. And that is so exciting.
He's cleared his karma. How did you make up for the $260,000 worth of victims that you profited from? How did you clear your karma for that? You didn't give any of the $260,000 back to the victims of your scams. How did you clear your karma from that, David Wilcock?
It also means that because I have fought for humanity's freedom and fought for humanity's future, that even though I may have been forced to participate in horrible things in the past,
he's fought for humanity's future by selling garbage fake alien stories, right? You're fighting for humanity's future by selling fake alien stories for a living, by scamming people with GoFundMe scams, by scamming people with PayPal donation scams, by scamming people with your fake charity that did no charitable work. You're fighting for humanity? You're fighting for your own bank account, dummy.
I no longer have any karmic debt for having done that.
I can't believe he could sit here with a straight face and say he has no karmic debt, having been involved in at least, that we know of, $260,000 worth of scams. Not even counting all the money he makes selling his fake courses. Remember, in his last course, he promised everybody, quote, I'm going to teach you the secrets of anti-gravity and free energy, and then you'll be able to do it too, unquote. How many people that gave him $333 have a hover car today or a free energy device since he taught them the secrets of anti-gravity? That was, in my opinion, a complete and total consumer fraud scam. We know about $260,000 that he stole from the public with his friends and his wife, ex-wife. We know that he's running these ascension. How many people ascended that took all those $333 courses? Not a one. I would call that consumer fraud as well. But my point is that he's sitting here telling everybody he's becoming an ascended master. He's cleared all of his karmic debt. He's paid for anything bad he did to people. You just scammed all these people in the last couple of years out of at least $260,000, David Wilcock. You have a karmic debt to pay for that. You don't get a pass for scamming all these people out of $260,000.
I exonerated myself with the universe.
He exonerated himself. Great. I stole, and me and my friends stole $260,000 from the public, but it's okay. I have no karmic debt. I've exonerated myself.
By being a hero, stepping forward and doing what to save this.
He's exonerated himself by being a hero. He's a hero now.
And
He's a hero for scamming people and stealing money from people for fake shit.
Save all life on this planet, or at least as much of it as we can save. So it's a huge deal to me to get a time loop where the words are very clearly talking about what's going on in the present. And again, it's astonishing redundancy. I've discussed time loops many other times. And
no, he hasn't.
There's no getting around it. There's no way that this could be anything other than something that knows what's going on in my life now, telling me about it in 1997. So then at this point, this is where the story gets really amazing. The time loop tells me that my life is going to change, that I'm about to have a very interesting new life. And I think you are too. And that life, they knew all about the fact that I was going to be doing this aerospace company. They knew all about the fact that I was going to be making hover cars, spaceships, free energy, anti-gravity. All that stuff is in there.
And this, my friends, is how we're going to know for 100% certainty that he is not in communication with the Archangel Michael or any benevolent, higher beings, because An angel would not tell people false information. A demon would. If he is truly in communication with any real beings, they are demonic entities that are fooling him. And he's so dumb, you know, the devil is going to whisper sweet things in your ear to seduce you. David Wilcock has been seduced by demonic entities. That is my opinion. If he is indeed speaking or in communication with any kind of entity, they're demonic entities. Angels don't get things wrong. So unless David Wilcock produces hover cars and spaceships, we're going to know he was talking to demons, not aliens, or not angels.
And in the time loop, they say that the way that our world will change and how fast it will change is much more than we could have imagined. So it's a very, very exciting timeline for our future. So at this point, reflecting on the fact that I may have been ritually abused, it certainly appears like it. I've had these very bad dreams of things happening to me all my life. I've felt like I'm on fire. I could never understand why I felt like I wanted other people to abuse me, why I felt like I deserved to be abused, why I felt like I deserved to be tortured.
Yeah, you might be right.
Why I felt like, yeah, go ahead, hit me, you know, the equivalent. I mean, I'm talking about business deals. I'm talking about many things that have happened to me all throughout my life, and people who got together into my life in various capacities and created a lot of harm. And it wasn't until Elizabeth came along that she shut the door on that and taught me how to protect myself. And I thank her so much for teaching me boundaries. So only now is it clear that by having the healthy boundaries, by not allowing psychopaths in, by not feeling subconsciously as if I deserve abuse, and therefore I need to attract in the abuse to balance out whatever the hell I had to sit through and watch. I mean, it's coming back to me, folks. And this is significant. My therapist has said that everything that's happening to me is consistent with the recovery of traumatic memories. Okay? And I don't want to be that person. I don't want to ever have to go through this again. I don't want to be brought into anything where I'd ever have to see anything like this again. Absolutely not. And I want this evil to be freed from the planet Earth. I do not want anybody to have to go through this stuff. It's just horrible. So I was very emotional. The Michael thing had happened. He scrolled 10 pages. It freaked me out. But then I'm looking at the time loop, and what is the time loop saying? It's saying to me, David,
you're full of shit.
You are free now. You do not need to be punished anymore. You do not need to be tortured anymore. You do not need to feel guilty anymore. You do not need to feel ashamed anymore. You have done enough to work off the events that occurred in your past.
That's how you know it's a demon that he's talking to. Because, I believe a demon or an angel would be aware that he has stolen at least $260,000 from weak, vulnerable people. And an angel wouldn't just say, well, you stole all that money from people, but you're good now. A devil, a demon would tell him that.
In this and other parallel lifetimes. Because that's how they really look at it, as a parallel lifetime when you have this kind of thing going on. So I became very emotional because my whole life I felt as if I'm bad. I've done something wrong, and I feel like I'm on fire. And until the world is fixed, I cannot feel good.
You should feel like a piece of shit because you have been stealing money from people for decades with your fake nonsense psychic powers that don't exist. Now you're telling people you got new superpowers. And how did you get those superpowers? By laying in a bathtub full of your own piss and talking to angels. Sure.
Until I can fix the world, I cannot rest. I cannot look at myself in the mirror and feel good about myself at all.
You shouldn't rest or look in the mirror and feel good about yourself. You should, every time you look in the mirror, you should feel like a piece of shit con artist scammer. That's what you should feel like.
I must fight. I must get this thing solved. And I must get rid of these parasites that have infested our solar system. And they're real.
Yeah. Okay. He's got to get rid of those Draco reptilian aliens that are running around butt banging people like him.
Okay. So all of this led up to me going into the mountains.
Oh, he said a prayer in the mountains.
Based upon everything that Michael had been telling me. That I have discharged my karma and that I don't need to be experiencing suffering, pain. I mean, we all are. We're all experiencing horrible, horrible things right now in the world. And apparently this is not going to last much longer. It's not just my karma that's being cleared, folks. It's Earth's karma. It's weather.
Yeah, he's clearing everyone on Earth's karma now, and things are about to get much better for everyone. There's the hopium injection that stupid people listen to him for.
We need to have these jerks continue to misrepresent us and lie to us and steal our money and leave us for dead. Or
like you, these jerks like you that steal money from people and leave them for dead. You don't care about the victims of your scams, obviously.
Actually kill us. Okay? That's coming to an end. And so I go out into the mountains and I'm now aware that, okay, an authenticated, time-looped 1997 divine source is telling me that I am free and clear.
You mean a demon? An angel would not tell you you're free and clear, knowing that you scam people and sell them fake garbage information for a living for decades. You know, there's a Christian concept of penance. You have to pay for your sins. In Catholicism, we pay for our sins through prayer, meditation, and reflection. You don't just get a pass while you're scamming people for hundreds of thousands of dollars over your career of grifting. You know, this guy's belief that he's talking to, he is delusional to believe that angels are just letting him off the hook for being such a slimy scumball and stealing money. Did you know that an insider of David Wilcock's once told me that he specifically targets people on disability checks and people on SSI or, you know, Social Security, because they have guaranteed income, you know, and who cares if they give, you know, $333 out of their maybe $1,200 check that month to him. It's absolutely ridiculous that this man is suggesting that angels are talking to him and telling him that he's a hero and helping him get superpowers by laying in a bathtub of his own piss, and he's saving Earth and he's a hero. It is absolutely ridiculous. And I repeat my belief that if this is, there's two possibilities here. Either he's just making all this shit up to have bullshit stories to tell people, or he truly believes he's in communication with otherworldly entities. If he truly is in communication with otherworldly entities, they are demonic entities, trickster spirits, and deceivers, just like him.
I am karmically free and clear, and I'm going to claim that. I am not going to let this go. So I go out into the mountains, and as I'm making this prayer that confirms that I have gotten through the worst of my karma, that I won't need to have any type of extreme negativity in my life again, the wind surges up into this incredible 75-mile-an-hour fury. I mean, it was so
here we go
intense.
again. The wind blew when I was praying, so that had to be divine intervention. You know, this guy loves coincidences and reading all of these, you know, super significant spiritual things into something so common and stupid like the wind blowing. The wind blows, David Wilcock. It happens. It doesn't mean you're in communication with angels. It doesn't mean you have superpowers. It means you're stupid for thinking that the wind blowing means anything.
That I literally had to sit down on the wind, put my arms out and sit down on it, because it was pushing against me so hard that I was afraid I would fall if I didn't lean back against the wind.
Yeah, and hey, I'm not sure when he's saying this happened, but just for shits and giggles, I can look up the meteorological data of where he lives and tell you when the last time there has been 75-mile-an-hour winds. This is a bullshit story, and we can prove it, and maybe I'll do that. 75-mile-an-hour winds would make the local news. It would make statewide news. There's 75-mile-an-hour winds, and he's claiming that he witnessed 75-mile-an-hour winds. I bet you he's full of shit.
Okay. Now, as this is going on, and let's go back here. The prayer concluded with, and I'll say it in the hero voice, because this is the way that I did it. Okay, this is the way that it actually happened. Because what I'm about to tell you is the most phenomenal thing that's ever happened to me in my entire life, and it was telekinesis. big telekinesis.
No, it wasn't.
Okay, so I'm just going to set that up.
It was bullshit,
so you can
David.
wait
It
for
wasn't
this.
telekinesis.
By decree of Archangel Michael, I am free now. That's the way I did it, okay? It was something equivalent to that. By decree of Archangel Michael, I am free now. Now, even as I said this sentence, folks, right as I'm saying this
You're right,
sentence, the
Richard.
wind got even more outrageous, okay? And I knew that this 1997 time loop meant that by being a hero, by fighting for freedom, I've cleared this karma, whatever the hell happened to me before, whatever liability karmically might have been, even though I was forced, none of this was my choice, okay? I cleared it. I say, by decree of Archangel Michael, I am free now. And at the exact moment that I said, I am free now, the entire flow of 75-mile-an-hour wind came to a complete and sudden stop. It was like, it's so intense that I'm leaning back and going, oh my God, I am free now. Wham! It just stopped. I mean, all the
Holy jeez. Ladies and gentlemen, the wind blew because he has superpowers, okay? And then when he said, I am free, the wind stopped. This must mean he's in communication with otherworldly entities. It couldn't mean anything else. You know, like the wind blew through and then it was gone.
wind stopped. There's no noise. I don't hear wind. I'm not feeling it. I can stand up. It all stopped. And I'm telling you, the violence of the wind leading up to this moment was so intense for minutes and minutes and minutes. And right at the exact second that I said, I am free now, it stopped dead. This is not the end of the story, folks. As I suddenly realized what happened, and the gravity, literally the gravity that would be involved in making something like this happen, causing a 75-mile-an-hour wind to stop dead, that's a lot more pounds of pressure per square inch than it takes to levitate a human body. A human body, in my case, let's say 180 pounds, levitating that, versus stopping a 75-mile-an-hour wind dead in its tracks.
Good point,
There's
Patrick.
absolutely
You're
no
absolutely
sound
right.
at all. That's more than 180 pounds. That's a lot more than it would take to make me levitate. And in the time loop, Michael is saying that we all have much more powerful abilities than we realize, and it's our fourth dimensional self that's choosing not to let us use it yet. But in order to be able to use it, you have to do things like, get your muscles worked out, decalcify your pineal gland. We'll talk about all that in Ascension Philosophy coming up. So again, the point was that after the wind stopped and I'm standing there going,
Yep.
oh my God, I can't believe this just happened. It was the purest, the cleanest, the most beautiful moment of God consciousness.
Oh, I got to change camera angles to tell you about the God consciousness.
The knowingness. It's going to happen again. I'm sorry. I don't want to cry again, but it was so beautiful. It was so amazing.
He goes to the close up because he's going to start crying. He's done this before. This is scripted, staged nonsense. Why would you go, I think I'm going to cry. Let's go to the close up right now while I'm going to cry.
It was so life altering. I prayed and I got the answer.
He's going to see?
And it means that I'm okay.
He's okay.
And it means
guys.
that I'm free.
Free.
And it means that you are free.
To Archangel Michael, go to the close up. I'm about to cry.
And these people are leaving.
Looks like he's having a hard time getting the waterworks going. He needs another acting class.
This was an event that happened to me for the planet. It didn't happen just for me. It happened for the planet. It's a
Yeah.
pathetic
He's so important that God blew wind at him and the Archangel Michael freed him of all his sins because it's for the planet, not for him.
vision of where we are. So as I have this thing happen, and I realize the wind has just stopped, the next thing that happens is this energy comes up from my feet. It comes up from the bottom of my feet. It goes up to the top of my head. And it was.
I just want to mention this is a terrible superhero powers origin story, right? You know what an origin story like this. This is how the superhero got his superpowers. This one is shitty, man. He needs better writing.
It was like the equivalent of what they call in Hinduism Shaktipat. And this is where you go to a guru and he or she puts their hands near you, or sometimes they don't even need to be that close, but they hit you with something and you go into this blissful consciousness. And I had it myself. If you
There we go. It's the it's the David Wilcock super duper prover maneuver. He's telling you this entire story full of bullshit, and then he throws in he throws in one factual statement that's supposed to prove that all the bullshit he just said means something important, because he threw in one fact, or all the bullshit he just said is true because this is true. The concept of Shaktipat.
Awakening the Dream, when the shaman was on stage in my senior year of college, she was from Siberia and she was throwing her voice off the back of the room. And I closed my eyes and tried to meditate with her, and all of a sudden I couldn't breathe. And I'm gasping for breath, but I can't breathe. And then my mind got thrown into this weird domain where I had access to all information. And any question that I asked, I got the answer.
Yeah, and by all accounts, David Wilcock spent his entire years of college heavily smoking pot and addicted to smoking pot by his own admission. So couldn't have had nothing to do with the fact that he was always smoked up, right? It was a mystical experience. It wasn't the drugs.
And I was seeing something that looked like a galaxy, but more like a three-dimensional spiral. If you see galaxies kind of going like this. Well, that energy was alive and it was conscious and it loved me and it loved my life and what I was doing. And I got 3 questions answered immediately.
Yeah, see that? All these heavenly entities are telling him how great he is. He's going to be an important part of Earth. He's going to save Earth. They love what he's doing in his life. What angelic or, godlike entities would go to David Wilcock, who makes a living selling stupid people fake stories about aliens, and say, we really love what you're doing, deceiving all these people and making millions of dollars off of stupid people? What angelic entities would do that? None of this shit makes any sense. This guy is truly, first of all, incredibly narcissistic, and he's delusional.
Immediately. And then I came back, and all of a sudden I could breathe. And as I inhaled like this, she's standing on the edge of the stage going, it was the scariest freaking thing, folks. I mean, up until that point in my life, she's looking right at me, and she did this. I was like,
yeah, me too,
my
Kate.
God, she
Me
did
too.
this. That was a Shaktipat. It was a bad one because you couldn't breathe and you felt like you were dying, but she got me into that realm of death, okay, for just a little bit. And so in this case, there was no lack of breathing.
He's been around since a lot before that. He's been around since at least 1998,
happened
Richard.
in a very interesting way because it also had a sound. It's hard to explain.
Yeah, you just piss yourself, FAP.
What this actually was. I'm going to try. I mean, there is a verbalization. So let me just give you the verbalization. It was as if, okay.
Yeah, we need more sniff.
It was as if I was an egg of liquid. Like my soul was this egg. And the ripple came up from the bottom, went through the egg, went up to the top, and then rippled back down. I could feel the egg. It was as if it was the surface of my skin. It was as if it was me. I felt the entire egg. I felt the energy moving up through the egg, but more importantly was that the energy movement was total ecstatic energy, total bliss, orgasmic times 1,000.
He had a 1,000-time orgasm. It was orgasmic times 1,000. This is David Wilcock being orgasmic. And that is gross. And so is sitting in a bathtub full of your own piss, but,
Orgasm doesn't begin to cover what this was like. It was much better.
Better than an orgasm.
And it was so pure. It was the knowledge that I am not alone and that the Creator exists, and He just stopped the wind for me. It was
David Wilcock is so important that God stopped the wind for him. Jesus God, this guy's a delusional, narcissistic idiot.
So incredible. And so the sound, as the ripple went through, it went, oh. That's the sound that I heard. I felt it more than heard it, but the boo. I guess that's the best way to describe what it sounded like. So this was very intense. The shop pod experience no longer made me afraid of telekinesis.
Oh.
Since this wind stopped and I got the bow thing, I have continued to have telekinesis. It stopped for a little while. I was going through a very stressful phase a couple weeks ago, just dealing with a lot of administrative things. And
yeah, like maybe you're divorced. That's stressful. How much money do you got to pay her to shut up? Because if you don't pay her, if you don't pay David Wilcock, if you don't pay your ex-wife enough money to shut the hell up about your cons and scams, I'm getting an interview. I'd be stressed out too if Stephen Cambion was about to interview my ex-wife.
Our company, we've had people lying to us. We're trying to get money. We're very, very. We really. It's kind of amazing that we're going to be able to buy the facility because we've had to delay the transaction so many times. But now we're getting down to.
Wait, he's talking about we might be able to buy the facility? He already said they bought it. Oh, that was a big slip up, David Wilcock. You already said you bought it. Now you're saying we might be able to buy it? What's that about? Maybe he just went there to look at that hangar and didn't buy shit, and then he made a live stream claiming that he bought an airplane hangar. That's interesting.
Due diligence, and we just need an appraisal, and then our lender can fund. So hopefully the hover car company is going to fund this coming week. We hope.
Fund this week? You said it was fully funded 8 months ago and that you guys would have a hover car prototype in the next couple of months.
But
see, this guy is such a bullshitter. He forgets. Here's how you spot a real bullshitter. He just forgot, apparently, that he already told everybody that they bought that airplane hangar and that they started work on the hover cars. That was 8 or 9 months ago. Now he's saying, well, we might get funding and get started on these hover cars next week or soon, and we might buy that hangar that I've already told everybody we bought. That's how you spot a bullshitter. They lie so much they can't remember their own lies and keep their stories straight, and they screw up like this right here.
I have literally, I'm not kidding when I say that my fear over not only the loss of my entire investment, which is all the money I've earned and made in my life, really.
You're losing it all,
but
buddy.
Not only that, but also the loss of the dream, the loss of the hover cars, the loss of the power plants, the loss of this even being possible. I'm so invested in making this company for you. I want you to have an affordable hover car that I'm having insomnia when we can't get the money. I'm not able to sleep.
How much money do they need? Because he is claiming right here that he has invested all the money he's ever made, which can't be true because you can't get through life saving every single penny that you ever earn. But apparently he's saying he put his life savings into this company, but they're still trying to get funding. Why? If you've put millions in, do you need millions more? Could it be that the people running that company are spending your money and then it's a Ponzi scheme? They need new investors to spend their money too?
I've had panic attacks. I've had anxiety.
Good.
And now in the last couple of weeks, we've started.
You should have panic attacks about losing all of your money, right? How do you think that the victims of your scams felt knowing that they gave their money for what they thought was a good cause and then somebody stole their money?
Started to have meetings in DC. We're starting to get movement on our firefighting aircraft, which is $60 million.
Because officials and senators and congressmen in Washington, D.C. really want to talk to a fake aviation company that has never produced a single airplane. Sure, David Wilcock.
Less than the comparable firefighting aircraft C-130 design. So you save $60 million a plane. So
yeah, you can save $60 million buying our plane that does not exist and has never been built, rather than going with, an established aviation company that actually manufactures airplanes, like Boeing or Northrop Grumman or, a real aviation company. No, let's convince people to instead buy our fake airplanes that I printed on my 3D printer. This guy is so ridiculous. I'm beginning to think he believes his own bullshit.
It looks like the company is moving forward. It looks like we're not going to collapse. It looks like we're not going to lose the building. But this has been just driving me insane, folks. And so I have been very traumatized, feeling alone.
Yeah, and by the way, I'm calling Stravati Aerospace, and I'm going to want them to clarify. Did you already buy the airplane hangar that David Wilcock claims you bought 8 months ago, or are you still trying to buy it? Because that's a big red flag there. That he said 8 months ago they bought it. He stood there in the hangar. Look, I got an airplane hangar. We're going to build hover cars. Now he's saying we might get the funding to get the hangar. This guy is the lord of bullshit.
Feeling isolated, living in this house by myself, nobody else, around but the dog. I'm not going to get into another relationship right away. That's clear. I mean, I will probably in the future, but
yeah, because there's probably not another woman on planet Earth that would have him.
Myself to figure out who I am, figure out what my life is. What am I doing here? Do I want to live in this house alone forever? Spend my money and just save it all up and just eat food and do nothing? And the answer is absolutely not. So when Archangel Michael stopped the wind,
first he said, see, he always double speaks. Earlier, he said God stopped the wind. Now he's saying it was the Archangel Michael. Maybe the Archangel Michael and God work together. I don't know.
I will never be the same person. And you can, again, deny that this happened.
I'm going to deny that it happened, David Wilcock. You're full of shit.
You can tell me that I'm full of it, that
You're full of shit. Yeah, you're definitely full of shit, David Wilcock.
I'm lying to you, that I'm trying.
You're definitely lying to everyone, David Wilcock. Yeah.
Trying to make this up for money or whatever.
You're making this shit up for money, David Wilcock, because that's what you've done for 20 years. You've made up fake stories and stolen people's money for your fake stories.
That's not true. I haven't.
Yes, it is true.
Done anything to make money this year so far.
He just did a course this year, or maybe that was before January, where he sold the anti-gravity course, and he's doing it right now. You can go to the website, thedisclosure.com. He hasn't done anything to make money this year. Go to thedisclosure.com, and you can pay $333 to take his bullshit anti-gravity free energy course. How can he sit there with a straight face and say, I haven't done anything to make money this year? Or maybe he means he's made money, but he hasn't actually done any work to make that money. He stole it from people for fake bullshit information. Maybe that's what he means. I just went to the disclosure. You can sign up for $333 right now and take his bullshit anti-gravity free energy course. And you too will be able to do it too. But suddenly there's no flying cars after people take his course or free energy devices. Isn't that a coincidence?
And I probably won't need to if I get, if our company gets financed. But again, I have to do one more paid product in the meantime to stabilize myself. So we are going to do that. But I shared this with the Alliance. I shared the wind stopping and the enormous amount of gravitational pressure that would.
Yeah, he went to the Alliance. I was in the mountains, and then the wind blew, and I said, I am free. Archangel Michael, free me. And then the wind stopped, and all the Alliance members said, what?
Been required to cause this to happen, which is much greater than what it would take to levitate one person, which means, obviously, the ability is inside me now. If I had the ability to do this, to answer in my prayer like this, it means that ability exists. So that's actually very exciting. So I've been sharing all the telekinesis that's happening to me with the Alliance. I think they've been very interested in this too.
Yeah. Could you imagine a bunch of government people in this fake alliance of his? Could you imagine, David Wilcock, former star of Ancient Aliens, he's telling us about getting superpowers because the wind blew and then stopped. So he must have this ability, these superpowers, right? The important people, congressmen, senators, generals, presidents, prime ministers of other countries are all in this alliance. And David Wilcock calls them all up and tells them about his superpowers. Sure you did. Sure you did, Captain Bullshit.
And so one of my insiders is, I call him the Colonel.
Oh, the Colonel, one of his new insiders, another imaginary friend that nobody else gets to talk to. Nobody ever gets to see or interview. Just the Colonel told me. He must have had Kentucky Fried Chicken for lunch. That's what I think. That's who I think your Colonel is. The Colonel from Kentucky Fried Chicken. You had Kentucky Fried Chicken for lunch, needed a new fake insider name, and thought, the Colonel, that sounds good.
So the Colonel actually thought of Revelation 7, and this
all
is
right. That's it. That's it. I'm sorry, friends. That's it. There's like 25 minutes left. I'm not, no, I can't. I can't do any more of this nonsense, garbage, bullshit fest. I just can't do it. Heather Birdie is here with a kind and generous $5 super chat. Heather Birdie says, geez, Stephen, can't believe you don't believe him. He's clearly a very stable human with a giant brain, hence the reason his forehead is so huge. Yeah. You know, I know everybody laughs about his huge forehead. I try not to attack his appearance because honestly, there's enough other shit to laugh about with this guy. But thank you so much, Heather Birdie, for your kindness, your generosity, and your support of the show. It is much, much appreciated. And thank you, Heather, for your support of the show and helping us to praise the cash, friends.
Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash. Thank you for your kindness. Thank you for your generosity. Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash.
Yeah, thank you very much. We appreciate all our kind and generous supporters, including you people on Patreon, including you kind and generous PayPal donators. Oh, there's sub 689 with a kind and generous $20 super chat. Thank you very much for your kindness, your generosity, and your support. We'll throw another bumper your way. Thank you for helping us to praise the cash, sub 689. I think you're a new user here, and if you are, welcome. You are most welcome here, and we're glad you found us. Oops. Yeah, so all right, we're going to do a quick recap. Here's what we have learned so far from David Wilcock's latest live stream. Number one, David Wilcock got butt banged by reptilian overlord Draco reptilian satanic aliens. He got butt banged. David Wilcock got eaten and brought back to life by Draco. Let me see if I get it right. Satanic Draco reptilian overlord aliens ate him and killed him and then brought him back to life, and then they butt banged him. Next, we learned that Donald Trump has telekinetic superpowers because he got a hole-in-one playing golf, and there could be no other way that Donald Trump could get a hole-in-one playing golf except for having telekinetic superpowers. We also learned that all golf pros, every pro at golf, gets hole-in-one. When they get a hole-in-one, it's because they too have telekinetic superpowers, and they've been trained by psychics. Okay. Next, we learned that David Wilcock is in communication with the Archangel Michael, and the Archangel Michael told him to lay in a bathtub full of his own piss in order to get his superpowers, right? He said that the Archangel Michael told him to lay in a bathtub full of his own piss so that he could get his superpowers. And we also learned that the wind blew and then stopped. And that is confirmation now that David Wilcock has superpowers. So, and we also learned that David Wilcock is getting new briefings, right? And I've said it so many times, this is my mantra. Congressmen get set briefings, generals, presidents get briefings. Nobody is briefing this dummy. Nobody is briefing former ancient alien star David Wilcock about anything of importance. He's just making all this shit up. And I see Dorothy Hawkins here. Good to see you. You know, Dorothy, I have to tell you, I saw you on was it Rich from Goof On Show? Somebody's show. And you remind me of my mother. You look a lot like my mother. And it actually like affected me emotionally. Not to pull David Wilcock, this is a true story because my mother's been dead for a long time. And it was just something about the way you were sitting there in the lighting reminded me of my mother. But good to see you here. Thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and your support of the show. It is much, much appreciated. And of course, we have Al Warrior, continuing show supporter with the kind and generous $2 super chat. Thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and your support. Thank all of you for helping us to praise the cash, Brad.
You're watching Truth Seekers. Praise the cash, praise the cash.
I keep on forgetting, but I have new bumpers of the cash clown that we have to get together. Thank you all for your kindness, your generosity, and your support. I am overwhelmed by the fact that so many kind and generous people all over the world want to see us continue doing this show, because it's a pretty crazy concept if you think about it. Most of what we do is listen and watch Conspiracy Land characters and their claims and rip them apart and make fun of them. But I think some people are worthy of mockery. This David Wilcock has reached a level of ridiculousness that is just so, it's like, I can't, listen, I don't, when I see that David Wilcock's got a new 3.5-hour stream, I generally go, I don't want to watch this. I don't want to watch it. And then somebody will send me a timestamp or something, and I'll watch like 5 minutes of it, and I go, I can't believe the shit that's coming out of this guy's mouth. And then I get hooked in. It's like it's like watching a car crash, right? You can't look away. It's a car crash. Like the level of stupidity of the people. Like, I wonder about people that send him money and believe him. I mean, are there really people that stupid in the world? There must be. The guy's made millions doing this shit, selling this garbage, right? Yeah. Arlene Atkinsell says, I wonder how much Wilcock charges to teach on-demand crying. Yeah, it's pretty obvious he's crying. And there's Robert with a kind and generous $2 super chat. Thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and support of the show as well. Good to see you here. You are most welcome. Thank you for helping us to praise that cash, friends. If David Wilcock can make millions of dollars lying to people, then I'm going to put this out there in the universe. I'm going to make millions of dollars telling people the truth about this ridiculous nonsense in this so-called community. Thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and your support, all of you. It's got to be possible, right? If David Wilcock can make all this money lying through his teeth, I got to be able to make some money entertaining people with the ridiculousness of this nonsense. Thank you, Robert Redmond. All right. Well, listen, it has been a long stream here. We haven't done one of these super long ones for a while, right? Yes, you are cash ghouls. And I just want to remind everybody that I am still looking for slave labor. Recently, I found out that a competing show to ours has 3 to 5 slaves working for him for free. And I do not believe that that is fair, that I have to compete with a guy who has 3 or 5 unpaid slaves doing all his work for him. I also don't think it's fair that I have to do most everything here myself, and I don't have 5 slaves. So we're looking for new slaves to work for Truth Seekers for free, but I'm keeping all the money, just like that other show host from Unidentified Celebrity Ass Licker Show. I want 3 to 5 slaves because it's not fair that I have to compete with a guy who literally has slave labor camp working for him every day or every show or whatever. So we need new slaves. You can email me at truthseekershow@gmail.com to apply to become a slave. Now, you must have some skills. You got to be a graphic artist, a musician, a researcher, video editor. That guy's got all of that. Oh, and co-hosts. We want 2 slave co-hosts. We want 2 slave co-hosts that are going to do every show with me for free. And I don't want to hear any complaining or nonsense or bullshit. If I'm going to do a 5-hour stream, then you're going to sit there and do and work for me on the show, being a co-host for 5 hours for free. I don't want to hear any shit from the slaves, okay? And you're not allowed to speak directly to me unless I speak to you first. And we're going to establish some other slave rules, like you got to do 20 to 40 hours a week working for the show for free in order to qualify for your Truth Seeker slave status. And that's where we're at with that. So, what else can I say, friends? It's been a very long day and it's been a very long stream. We haven't done one of these long ones, but I was going to do this in 2 parts, but and by the way, we missed a little bit at the end, but we didn't really miss anything. And there is that hour and a half that he started with. Maybe I'll go through that tomorrow and we can do another one of these later in the week. But most of me thinks we've covered most of the stuff, this laying around in bathtubs full of his own piss, him getting new superpowers. He got butt banged by Draco reptilian aliens. We learned that. So I think, my shoelace is stuck on a chair. Yes, and I'm out here in my patio. And I hope I'm not bugging my neighbors. My neighbors aren't that close, but still, yeah. Imagine what they thought if somebody was sitting in the yard behind me listening to me yell about butt banging aliens, right? So I don't, yeah, it's a real possibility. I mean, the neighbors aren't that close, but they're probably close enough to hear me when I start screaming about David Wilcock is getting butt banged by Draco reptilian overlord satanic aliens. And I wonder what they think, right? We don't know the neighbors here very well. But I kind of like it that way, right? Like I just wave and smile, and I don't talk to many people here. You know, we talk to our next door neighbor, but not very many. We don't even know many of the neighbors. Just smile, wave. I like it that way, though. You know, I don't want to start getting invited to shit I don't want to go to or things I don't want to do, right? So I'm here on my patio. We're going to be moving to the new streaming setup. I got it almost cleaned out. Still, I'm going to work on it for an hour or two tonight, have a few beers while I do that. That's what I do. Like, well, if I got to do this terrible shit I don't want to do, like clean this entire room full of boxes, filled floor to ceiling with boxes of junk, I'm going to, you know, have a couple beers or whatever. Yeah, so I want to thank each and every one of you kind and generous benefactors. We have been a little light on the Patreon this month, so I'm going to be doing a video just for you Patreon supporters. I should remind you that this is a viewer-supported show. You can support us for as little as $1 a month on Patreon, and that's $1 or more. Somebody, we mentioned him earlier in the show, I want to thank him again, gave a huge monthly, well, for me, it's huge and so generous. Everybody's generous to me, but when I say you only have to give $1 and then somebody like gives me a hell of a lot more than that every month, I even messaged him. I said, did you make a mistake here? Because, you know, I didn't want somebody to make a mistake. He didn't make a mistake. He said, I enjoy your show. I want you to continue doing it. Here's some money to help you out so that you don't have to worry so much about these things. Awesome people all over the world. I can't thank all of you enough. And the fact that there's people, it just blows me away. Like, yo, there's somebody from Mexico just sent me a PayPal donation. Somebody from Germany yesterday. And by the way, I do apologize. Listen, the PayPal donators, we call out every PayPal donation. There's instructions to do that in the description of the video. We thank every new Patreon supporter. You can become a member for $5 a month. We thank every member. I'm going to start doing shout outs of all the members every show very soon. So there's a lot of ways to support us financially, but the other way is Blinking Liar. Yeah. Somebody sent me $243 by mistake, but it didn't go through, Blinking Liar. He meant to send me $234 this genocide. Haven't seen him in a while, and he sent $234. And then, but it didn't go through or something like that. I can't remember exactly what happened, but I didn't get the money. I showed him on my on my super chat list. His super chat wasn't there. I think he called his bank and tried to, and canceled it or disputed it, and YouTube just took it off. So yeah, we don't want to see problems like that. So the other way that you could support us, which helps just as much, this is my mantra as a YouTube content creator. I have to constantly remind people that besides throwing money at me, there is of course another way to help us. And that is to like, comment, subscribe, and share these videos. If you like and share these videos, it really does help. It helps us gain the good graces of the YouTube algorithm. Another way that you can help us is to like this video on the way out. It shows engagement, and YouTube loves that. The other thing you could do is comment on the video. Let us know, what did you think of tonight's show? Is David Wilcock losing his goddamn mind? Let me know what you think in the comments. It really does help, because then it shows engagement, and the YouTube algorithm loves when people are engaged with its content creators. Then what will happen if you like, comment, subscribe, and share these videos on your social media is that AI algorithm god that I'm a slave to will find favor with me. They will raise me in the search engines. They will help more viewers like you find me. And that is just as helpful as throwing a couple of bucks in my hat. So please do like, comment, subscribe, and share these videos. It really does help. I'm going to be doing some interviews for the new Truth Seekers slave labor force this week. So please get those emails in. If you're a video editor, graphics designer, you're all going to work for free. Like that other show host has an army of people working for free. I'll be interviewing some people to be the new slave labor co-hosts. We got to get some good online talent or, on-camera talent to be slaves, because that guy's got 2 or 3 sometimes slave co-hosts that work for free. And I don't think this shit is fair. Why should I have to compete with people? If he's using slave labor to get ahead of me, I'm going to start using slave labor to get ahead of him. Okay? Yeah, that's my plan. We're leveling the playing field. If another show host competing with me has a slave labor force working for him for free, then I need my own slave labor force. We're taking interviews this week of the new Truthseekers slave labor force. You too can work for me for free. And, but don't expect me to be nice to you just because you're working for free or talk to you. You're a slave. I'm going to treat you like one. Apparently, that's what he does. Nobody gets any money. Nobody gets to talk unless he decides they're allowed to. It's great. All right. So, been a long day. What a long stream. The ridiculousness of the wacky world of David Wilcock. We've seen it again, friends. This is the wacky world of David Wilcock. And I can't lie. I can't wait for him to do another stream, because this shit is getting more and more ridiculous as time goes on. And I can't wait to see what this clown's going to start claiming next. Maybe he's going to, I don't know. He's already got telekinetic superpowers. Maybe he's going to claim he's got heat vision next, right? I don't know. It's getting crazy. And I would be happy to continue to get crazy covering it with you. For some reason, you guys love it when I cover David Wilcock. We get much better views when I cover David Wilcock than other conspiracy land characters. We aim to please our audience here. I'm here to do what the audience wants. If you guys want me to keep doing it, we will. You can hear a storm is blowing in, and it's raining here now. I am going to pack up the laptop before it really starts coming down. It seems to be increasing. And again, a note to you audiophiles that will send me nasty messages. If you're listening in audio podcast land or otherwise, I'm outside. We're in between streaming setups. This should be resolved soon. And I apologize if nature sounds offend your ears so much that you have to send me a nasty email. But thank the rest of you that don't mind these stupid little things. We're a live show. We've got to roll with the punches here. So that's all we got for you. Yeah. I want to thank all you kind and generous benefactors, PayPal supporters, Patreon supporters. Oh, by the way, the Patreon, I'm on a brand new laptop here. I haven't logged into PayPal, and I think it's 2-step authorization, and I didn't have my phone. So if there's any PayPal donations, I promise you all I will read them on tomorrow night's show. We'll be back tomorrow night at 9 p.m. It's a surprise what's happening tomorrow, but you want to be here tomorrow night. We're going to have a very special show for you, and I can't wait to bring it to you at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's our new time, by the way. And I believe that we're going to be doing shows going forward Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 9 p.m. Now, there may be some other shows if I have time on the weekends or on Monday night, but I am committing to 3 live shows a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. This is our new time slot. Thank you for finding us here, and I hope more of you find us here tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that's all I got. Until next time, friends, my name is Stephen Cambion, reminding you that once you get in to the wacky world of David Wilcock, you might not get out. Good night, friends.
All these ancient prophecies telling us that the world will be transformed.
Wacky world of Wilcock, where make-believe is real. It's the wacky world of Wilcock. How much money can he steal? It's the wacky world of Wilcock, where make-believe is real. It's the wacky world of Wilcock. How much money can he steal? He makes all this stuff up and claims that it's all true. The aliens want to eat us. Be careful that they don't get you. It's the wacky world of Wilcock, where make-believe is real. It's the wacky world of Wilcock. How much money can you steal? It's the wacky world of Wilcock, where make-believe is real. It's the wacky world of Wilcock. How much money can you steal?
This is where if I have a live audience, I get everybody to hug each other. I say, give your neighbor a handshake or a hug, whatever you feel is appropriate to you. And that way everybody feels the love a little more. I will never believe it, I will never believe it. Okay, that's fine. Maybe you need 25,000 more years, I don't know, buddy. But look, this is really compelling information, and it's going to get a lot more intense. It's coming up in a couple days here on Sunday, so if you haven't already signed up, we have reopened the cart. We still have the payment plan in place.